Here he is. Say hello to first place, Captain.
Bad boy, go!
Just tried to put on a show, man. That's what we're here for.
Oh my God, I'm stoked to be down at the bottom in one piece. This is it, man. The big deal that everyone wants.
Damn, Zeke!
I'm going up for another one.
I don't think you can ever have too much experience here.
Just like insane in my head.
I've done it before, but it's still hard every time.
From Whistler, Randy Cavanaugh! It's not like the other contests. The crowd and pressure, I feel amazing.
This is your 5th swing here at Red Bull Joyride.
If I'm going to deal with a slopestyle event, it's going to be this one.
Are you kidding me?
Slopestyle mountain bike fans, take a look at where we are right now. If you call yourself a slopestyle mountain bike fan, I know you recognize this place because this is the exact epicenter where the sport was born. Middle of Whistler Village, the Boneyard Slope. This is Red Bull Joyride. Now, the skies may be smoky, but the winds are calm and the stage is set for the most ridiculous slopestyle contest in the history of the sport. On behalf of Crankworx Whistler, we'd like to thank the Squamish and Lil'wat nations for welcoming us on their traditional territory to hold this amazing event for the 15th time in history. I'm your host, Cam McCall, alongside our expert today, Tyler McCall. And Tyler, can you feel the anticipation building?
Today's the day. The whole season's been leading up to this. We've had an insane first 3 stops, and I know everyone's fired up to get this season closed out and get this one underway.
Well, one guy everybody's talking about today is Nicolai Roy Gaskin. He has the chance to win the first ever Triple Crown of slopestyle.
I believe the Triple Crown started 4 years ago. No one's ever been able to attain it. Nicolai is the only guy that has a chance to win it this year, but he's got a lot of guys trying to take it away from him.
Now, a new guy on the scene, a guy who got on the podium in the last event in Leger, Eric Fedko out of Germany. He's looking so strong in practice as well.
He's been getting better every stop, just maturing, progressing, and getting the knowledge that he needs to bring it to this stage, which is his first time in Joyride, and I don't think he's going to hold back at all.
Now, we know Joyride for being a course that offers up more features than most other competitions on the circuit. One guy whose favor that plays into is Simon Godziak.
He loves extension, and there's a lot of airtime on this course, so I think we're going to see some really big stuff. The winds are low today, and you know he likes to hang it out.
Really looking forward to seeing Simon Godziak's tricks, but a guy who's really skyrocketed himself into contention to be a top contender out here this season is Diego Cavarzasi. So many front flips on so many different features.
That's right, and unfortunately we saw him take a crash on a front flip off of the cabin earlier in practice, and he was doing it in practice and just had a little mishap, so we're hoping to see him back in the start gate today.
It's a long week of practice. These riders have been experimenting so much, and sometimes those experiments come up with crashes. Luckily, Diego, even though he broke his thumb, apparently he's still going to compete today, so what a charger. So those are our picks. Don't agree with us? You're lucky because there's a platform for you. Go to fantasy.crankworx.com. Big prizes up for grabs. A trip for 2 to stop number 1 of the 2019 season in Rotorua, New Zealand. Tyler, you made a team.
I did. I had to start out with Simon Godziak. He's one of my favorites. After watching that video, you riding with him, it made it even more clear. Tomas Lemoine, he's going to be gunning for the king of Crankworx, so you know he's trying to put down a good result. He's not going to take this one lightly. I had Brett Reeder. I wasted a lot of budget on him. I don't want to say wasted. It was tough to burst my bubble like that, but got to have him on the team. And then Matt Jones, king of extension. All his tricks are so perfect. One of my favorite people to watch ride a bike, so I'm feeling pretty confident about my team right now.
A little bit of insider trading because you've actually been riding practice with those guys, and you really know who's looking good out here today. Take a look at Tyler riding practice in his course preview.
Tyler McCall here with Canada's own Anthony Mazzari, 2-time Red Bull Joyride podium finisher. He's going to give me a look at the 2018 Red Bull Joyride course. You ready to train me down this thing or what?
Let's get it, dude.
Let's do it. After you. All right, so right here, we're gonna see Anthony opting to take the step down line. I'm taking the flat drop. That's one of the only options for lines on this course. Then you come into this big cannon, super high speed, scary to trick. Coming into the 4-pack, this is where you're gonna see a lot of riders link back-to-back tricks.
Say what's up, boys. Coming into this little roller section. Into the cabin whale tail. And then into this moon booter. Huge jump. Woo. Ton of braking here. And run. Off. That's it.
Oh my! Anthony bringing it in hot. That's your 2018 Red Bull Joyride course preview with Anthony Mazzari. Thank you. That was fun.
Brakes are burning.
Yeah, dude. Woo.
So that's the course these guys will be riding out here today. And for one of those competitors, this right here is up for grabs. This is the coveted Triple Crown Trophy. The Triple Crown was up for grabs in 2015 and every year since, but nobody has won it. And for good reason, it's no easy task.
The Triple Crown of Slopestyle.
The Triple Crown, a Triple Crown, Triple Crown. That's the trophy that's never been won before. Winning 3 out of the 4. You think it's possible? We've had a few guys come close in the last few years, but still, no one has claimed the Triple Crown title. It's a lot like waiting for the fruits to drop on a slot machine. Incredibly difficult, but someone will do it. In 2015, Brett Reeder was the man in the hunt.
Brett, this is looking great. Into the moneymaker. Say hello to your new leader, Brett Reeder. One more jump. Oh, he does it. Brett Reeder, the only guy in the running for the Crankworx Triple Crown. First of its kind. Oh, backflip. Oh, second and final run. This is Brett Reeder.
In the hunt for the Triple Crown.
Can he nail this? Backflip, double tail whip.
There will be no Triple Crown in 2015 for Brett Reeder.
I tried so hard to just like block all the pressure that the media made and myself, but I don't know, there's no way around it. It's just who can put it together on that day, and with that pressure, it's tough. So
in 2017, it was the turn of Rogatkin.
Front flip on the dirt to dirt. Going for the twister. Can he land it? Perfect! Once again, Nicolai Roy Gaskin defies expectations and sets a new level. Rogatkin, he needs to stop this. Oh, a casserole tail whip straight to pedal. Nicolai Roy Gaskin is your champion here at Crankworx Innsbruck. Can he secure the Triple Crown? Here we go. The front cork 1080.
Wow, this run's looking so perfect.
The home stretch for Rogatkin. The wind getting the best of him. Nicolai goes down. Triple Crown title at stake for Rogatkin. Here we go. Into the casserole. He's going to over-rotate. No! Blow out the back tire. No, come on, rubber. Please hold air for Nicolai Roy Gaskin. No history for Rogatkin.
Yeah, that first run felt good, just didn't work there in the end, and the second run had another mistake with the blown out tire, but tough to swallow, but you got to take it.
And so to 2018. After a disappointing first stop in Rotorua, Rogatkin blew into Europe with a fiery determination. Incredible displays of progression and consistency saw him log back-to-back victories in Innsbruck and Leger. With 2 wins under his belt, the final piece of the hat trick is once again in sight.
Something that all of us riders know is there and know is possible, but it doesn't really seem achievable. To actually complete that and win it would be beyond words. Yeah, the added pressure is there, but it just makes me kind of more motivated to get a crazy run down the hill.
Will this be the year someone finally hits the Triple Crown jackpot?
So a lot of pressure on Nicolai Roy Gaskin today, but you got to believe all the riders out there are feeling the butterflies. To get an inside look, we have a third member of our team, Michaela Gatto. She's standing courtside. Let's hear from her. Michaela?
I've got Brett Reeder here, first in Rotorua, second in the 2 European stops. How are you feeling today?
I feel pretty good. I've had a pretty good week. Low wind this year. Last year was super windy practice all week long, and the smoke today is a little bit of a blessing in disguise, because when there's this much smoke, there's no wind, and it's allowed for us to have some good practice sessions. So yeah, I feel good. I'm ready to go. Just kind of passing the time until I have to drop in for my run.
And if you win today, you will win the Crankworx FMBA Slopestyle World Championship and the overall. How does that feel?
I don't know. That sounds like a tall order. I'll do my best, and we'll get to that bridge when it comes.
All right, well, just focus on your runs, do what you know you can do, and good luck out there.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michaela. Everybody on pins and needles excited to watch that guy drop in because he is the current leader of the Crankworx FMBA Slopestyle World Championship. And for an overview on what that means, take a look at this. There's 4 events. We started out down the Southern Hemisphere in Rotorua, New Zealand. We went to Europe. We went to Innsbruck, Austria, and Leger, France. Now we finish it off where it all started here in Whistler. This is how the competition works. Each rider gets 2 runs. They can mess up a run, that's okay. All you need is 1 solid run. Who's going to be determining who takes the cake here? We have 4 judges, an esteemed panel, plus 1 head judge overviewing everything, making sure everything's in line. 1,000 points goes to the leader. It trickles on after that. And that title's still up for grabs. Last year, Emilio Hansen out of Sweden was the guy who took the World Championship title, worth $25,000. Now, if you win 3 of those, that's called the Triple Crown. Any 3, it doesn't matter. So Nicolai Roy Gaskin won the 2 European rounds. If he wins here in Whistler, he'll take home another $25,000. So a lot at stake out here. That's why there is such a massive crowd. This is the pinnacle of the sport. We've had 3 slopestyle competitions already in this 2018 season, but nothing even compares to this. And these riders, I'm sure, are feeling yet the nerves, but also the excitement and the adrenaline that Red Bull Joyride brings. Well, Red Bull Joyride 2018, run number 1, coming up right after the break. Well, the crowd is filling in just as much as the smoke has, but with smoke here on the Boneyard, that means no wind. And what does that mean? This is shaping up to be the best Red Bull Joyride ever, because take a look at the riders we have. The first rider dropping, who just posted about a half an hour ago that he decided to drop in, none other than the 2017 world champion, Emile Johansen. Tyler, who else do we have?
Anthony Mazzari, Canada's own. We only have a couple Canadians in the field today. Thomas Lemoine, Eric Fedko, the new kid on the block. Diego, who's nursing that broken thumb. Tomas Lemoine, who's gunning for the King of Crankworx. Nicolai Roy Gaskin, and Brett Reeder.
Well, you got the characters, you got the course, you got the crowd. All the ingredients are there. And what better way to kick off the action than a course blessing from members of the Squamish Lil'wat Cultural Center, welcoming us on their traditional territory. This is going to be a fantastic day here. Red Bull Joyride 2018. Well, Red Bull Joyride 2018 starts right now.
It's not just a mountain bike festival now, like this is getting bigger and bigger.
The crowd is going wild out there.
Dude, it doesn't get much better than that.
It's
one of the biggest things that has happened to the sport in the last 10 years, for sure.
What a huge run. We could have a new leader here.
The vibe here is what really makes the finale so special.
Oh, just barely too short.
There it is. We've been waiting all season, months and months of anticipation, not only for the crowd you see there courtside, but for all of you viewers at home, and ourselves included. Nothing even compares to this event right here. So difficult to find yourself on that start list, and one man who's been absent from that start list all season, he hasn't even hit jumps this big in a year. His last big event was Crankworx Whistler, Red Bull Joyride 2017. He's the world champion coming into this. I'm talking about Emilio Hansen.
We get to see our past world champion dropping in first here. We haven't seen him ride a course since here last year. So we're in for a treat here. Starting off with a 360 table. That was an opposite double tail up on the cannon. Emile riding true to his form that we saw him riding to last season. A huge cork 720 on the first jump of the 4-pack. Coming into the next one. Oh! Double truck driver to downside tail whip. Holy cow, Emile is back. Coming into the cabin here. He's got an Indian air in. 360 tail whip out, reminiscent of what we saw him doing last year, proving that he hasn't missed a step. Oh, come on! Backflip tail whip to bar spin, showing why he is the reigning world champion. He's got a table up onto the can. On off, and a 360 one-footed can down. That's gotta feel so good.
To be kidding me. This guy has been off the bike for 10 months. He comes out and does that. At the beginning of the week, it was amazing to see him here just to slap some high fives because he's been absent for so long. But to see him in practice, it felt great. But to see him finish a run and celebrate there with Martin Soderstrom, who appears to be wiping tears from his eyes because he knows how hard it is. Oh, this is amazing. Michaela Gatto standing by with Emilio Hansen. Michaela?
Hey, buddy. Okay, there's some tears being shed down here. Emile, you came second here last year. You're a reigning world champion. You've been off the bike for almost a year now. How good does it feel to be back?
I'm like speechless. It's such a tough year. Doing big times. I never thought I was going to be able to ride a bike again. And yeah, I'm here.
Well, you absolutely just crushed it, and we can't wait to see you back. We're so happy.
Oh, man. Thank you, Michaela. This is unthinkable. Tyler, let's wipe the tears out of everybody's eyes here and analyze this run.
An emotional moment for the young Swede, not able to ride for the last 12 months in a competition. That right there is something we saw him doing last year. A double truck driver to actually opposite downside tail whip. He's the only person we see do that trick, and we haven't seen it since here last year. So good to see him back on form. Backflip tail whip to bar spin.
He didn't miss a single thing.
No, he got everything exactly how he wanted in his head.
Well, Emilio Hansen, I can't think of a better way to start this competition as we await the score for the young Swede. 84.5 to start the day. This is going to be a doozy.
Our first rider with a score in the mid-80s. Our first rider, also the reigning world champion. And that's got to set the stage for the rest of the riders. You know, the last few on the start list, Nicolai Roy Gaskin, Brett Reeder, they're kind of scratching their heads like, man, maybe we forgot about Emile. He's still got what it takes.
Morale is high in the start tower right now as we take a look at Torquato Score out of Italy, a rider who's seen a Crankworx Slopestyle podium but fell off tour, but battled his way back this year just in time for Red Bull Joyride.
Torquato's been working real hard to get himself back on tour. He earned the wild card at Tom Van Steenbergen's Big White Invitational just about a month ago, and now here he is, back on course right where he wants to be. Choosing to take the flat drop as well with the truck driver to start things off. Coming into the SRAM cannon with a backflip tail whip.
Torquato Score, the first rider we ever saw try a backflip tail whip off a cannon feature just a few years ago on this very slope. Not able to stomp it here in 2018. So Tyler, let's see if we can look back at the replay of that backflip tail up, try to figure out what went wrong. You know he was doing it in practice, so what happened?
So an unfortunate start here for Torquato. The truck driver went well coming into this backflip tail up. It's tricky to do off of a cannon because it's a flat takeoff. He has to yank with everything he has, throw that tail up around, and he just landed a little bit with his weight offset to the left.
So knowing that the history tends to repeat itself, well, he's not doing his big tricks right now. I was going to say sometimes it's a good idea to get up, even if you have a crash, and just try to make it all the way down to the bottom of the course, because you never know what's going to happen to everybody else. So Torquato Testa is going to get a score here. Obviously, that crash will be reflected, but we'll wait for his second run to see what he has up his sleeve. And I know he's got a lot up there because we've been following him in practice all week long. We've been following his Instagram page. Flat drop flip off of the final feature to finish things off for him. Good to see that he was able to escape that crash without any injuries. So Tyler, we talked about Torquato Testa falling off tour and then clawing his way back up. Tell me a little bit about this next guy in the gate, Jakob Wenzel.
So Jakob's been working hard all season to get on tour. He's fallen off tour. He's been so close every time. He was one of our alternates. Another rider pulled out of the competition, so Jakob found out just a couple hours ago that he was actually going to be dropping in for Red Bull Joyride. So it's a bit of a balancing act for him during practice all week. How much does he want to risk? How much does he want to put on the line? He doesn't even know if he's in until just shortly. So here he comes. He's back in a Red Bull Joyride. Doing the flat drop as well with a 360X up. Looking to maintain speed into the SRAM cannon. Nice backflip there. Now coming into the 4-pack. You might see some opposite tricks in here. You never know. Jakob's got a big bag of tricks. Perfect 720.
Oh!
Into a front axis 720. He calls it the Misty. Sometimes we call it a cash roll. That's a great combo there on that 4-pack. Double bar spin into the cabin. 360 tuck no hander out. We're seeing a lot of variety from Jakob so far. Double tail up on that super booter there. That jump boots you so high into the air. Lots of air time. And the last feature. Let's see if he can finish it off.
Whoa.
Land a little low.
Oh man, Jakob Wenzel, such a solid run, top to bottom for him. Two different 720s on different axes. We also saw him with that double tail. I think that's one that we don't see from him too often.
Not too often, but it's so hard as a competitor to get your mental preparation, not knowing if you're even in the competition, not knowing how hard to practice, and he just threw down a really good run. So pretty proud of him to see him do that on such short notice.
Well, the score to beat, 84.5. As the judges do their thing, let's take a look back at the run. Here's the cash roll. He calls it the Misty 7. It's a front axis on that rotation right after he was doing the Quark 720 on the backward axis. How cool is it to be able to link those up back to back?
I'd say that's got to score just as well as an opposite and a regular linked, just because they're two completely different axis 720s.
The judges love it when the tricks complement each other. And now here we go off the kokanee drop.
Got a little scared for him there. Not much time to react if you over-rotate onto that last feature. And he was able to yank back, get that backflip. Wasn't sure if he was going to come up short, but he got it around.
Amazing ability to keep composure on that kokanee drop to get that flat drop flip out. 84.5 is the score to beat, currently held by Emilio Hansen. What's it going to be? A 72 for Jakob Wenzel. Just going to show how technical that first run of the event from Emilio Hansen really was.
So Jakob's got something to work off of now for his second run.
What an amazing run, though, considering he woke up this morning not even knowing if he was going to be in the competition. Well, earlier on in the season, during our halftime break, I believe it was Rotorua, we had Lucas Knopf up in the booth because he was on the alternate list. He didn't get in the event like Lucas did today, but he earned his way on tour on his own right. He's right here in Red Bull Joyride, dropping in.
Going to start things off with a truck driver, just like we saw Torquato doing. Let's see if he can pull it together on the cannon there with a nice big front flip. So this is where Lucas has lots of strength on the combos. Front flip tuck no hander, landing a little low. Keeping it stock with a 360. Keeping his run going though, that's what's important. I believe this is his first time at Red Bull Joyride, and he just wants to get a run in the bag. Tail up on, double truck driver off. A nice triple combo there. Now we're coming into this big Red Bull kicker. Double tail up, reminiscent of what we saw Jakob doing. He saw that get a good score, so he knows that's going to put him in a good spot. Bar spin on, and what does he have to complete this run?
Oh, truck driver off the final drop, the kokanee drop. That is a solid run right there for Lukas Knopf out of Germany.
That's got to feel good. He's been working so hard all year to get to this moment, and he just completed his first Red Bull Joyride run.
And as you'll hear a lot of the riders mention, there's no feeling like entering the finish corral at Red Bull Joyride. Let's take a look back at the replays. He gets a great variation here on this front flip on the first jump in the 4-pack.
He had huge amplitude on that front flip tuck no-hander there, landing a little bit lower than he anticipated and having to maybe scrap his combo on the next jump, but the important thing is he was able to maintain his run and keep the flow going.
Now this will be worth a lot of points.
Yeah, this double truck driver right there. So a 360 with 2 bar spins, we call that a triple combo, which is pretty standard these days, which is crazy to think about. Double truck drivers off of whale tails. And this right here, a truck driver to finish things off. Solid run for Lukas right there. Matt Jones excited to see his buddy get his first run down the course.
Well, that's great to see Lukas Knopf in his first Red Bull Joyride appearance. What will the score be? A 62.25, good enough for third place. So the judges definitely criticizing that missed trick on the second jump in the 4-pack. Goes to show that there is no room for any missed tricks out there today. Well, slopestyle bikes come in all shapes and sizes, dual suspensions, hardtails, but they always get set up and customized to suit the rider who's going to throw a leg over them. Matt Jones has an interesting step up, and Michaela Gatto caught up with him earlier.
This is a really short bike. I designed this Marin Alcatraz with Marin. I basically said, let's make a dirt jump bike almost as short as possible, because a shorter wheelbase is a more, like it's actually more unstable. It's like a fighter jet. You don't want a fighter jet to be really stable and like planted in the air. You want it to be agile, change direction. So for me, a short bike allows me to 720 small jumps. I'm working on 1080s, like that helps to spin. I've got a TRP brake, hydraulic brake. So this is an interesting point. Almost all riders now are running gyros, whether that's mechanical, hydraulic. And I did that here 2 years ago, but I just found you lose so much power and feel through the brake. Like gyros aren't where they need to be yet for me. They're not very powerful. I was kind of like trying to stop between jumps and flying off lips into gaps. So I run a hydraulic 2-meter long hose, which is, I had to kind of build onto the bike myself because hoses don't come that long. That's so I can do a lot of bar spins. Flat pedals, obviously, you'll never see a slopestyle guy with clip-ins. That just doesn't happen. You'd think that a really big pedal would be better for catching tail whips, catching tricks and things like that. But when you take off and do a tail whip, often your pedal can end up in it like pointing upwards. And when your foot comes down, you're going to land on it and it's going to roll. So a big pedal, if it was huge, it's going to roll and you're actually going to completely miss it. Whereas a smaller platform, it's only going to roll like a smaller distance and it's still going to be on the ball of your foot. So that's kind of like a bit of a geeky thing, but huge, great pedals aren't necessarily better for ending up on the pedals because they can roll you off.
Well, I heard a rumor earlier this season that Matt Jones was really smart. He maintained a 4.0 grade point average in high school, and now I believe it. This guy's breaking this stuff down to a science.
Always great to get some insight on how these guys set their bikes up. Everybody does it a little bit different. Matt Jones liking that hydraulic brake, doesn't want to lose that braking power. There's actually quite a bit of braking on this course, so that might work to his advantage a little bit. Now here he comes, run number 1, starting out with a flat backflip off that flat drop. Coming into the SRAM cannon with a backflip tuck no-hander. Great combo off that flat takeoff. Now we're coming into the big jumps. A double backflip, the Matt Jones special.
Into the 720, this is what he needs.
Wow, 2 great tricks linked together. Now let's see if he can hold it together into the Red Bull cabin. 360 on, backflip tuck no-hander out. He's not holding back at all on this run so far.
Strong run for Matt Jones here. Best run we've seen from him all season so far. Look at that time.
Oh, I was hoping we would see that from him on that jump. That's my favorite trick that he does. Nobody does it like that. 360 on, what does he have to finish it off? Grabbing a pedal.
Flat flip off the kokanee drop to finish things off. That is exactly what we've been waiting for from Matt Jones. He had such a hard time. It took him forever to get a top-to-bottom run in a Crankworx slopestyle. Finally,
He did that last year at Joyride, but it was a relatively safe run for him considering what he is capable of. Right there, he completely rode to his abilities there, and it's going to be interesting to see if that run was good enough to compare to the run from Emilio Hansen that's currently sitting in the hot seat with a score of 84.5. Tyler, the replay.
Double backflip on the first jump of 2 here. So that's a risky move. If he over-rotates, under-rotates, he's not going to be able to get speed for the next one. Putting that down perfect to tires, and then he needed all the speed he could get for that second jump. So we saw him taking pedals in between the jump to get that 720. I like how we always see him spotting the landing in between the 2 flips there, which is pretty insane to think he knows exactly where he's at while he's spinning that rotation.
Tyler, I know you were really looking forward to this next trick.
When I try this trick, I look at videos of Matt Jones and just try to do it like him. He makes it look so easy, but the extension that he gets on that, the way that he holds it, the angle that his bike's at compared to his body, it's just textbook perfect, and that's what the judges look for.
Wow, flat drop at the beginning, flat drop flip at the beginning, flat drop flip at the end. Matt Jones definitely cracking the code on how to set up a slopestyle bike, but also how to put together a Crankworx slopestyle run. It's been a long time coming for him. We've been waiting to see him link a double flip into a 720. He incorporated all the bangers he's known for in one run. That's going to be a good score. The big question right now, is it going to be enough to take out Emilio Hansen's 84.5? Well, the score coming in, okay, a 68.5, good enough for 3rd place right now. Very, very far away from the 84.5 held by Emilio Hansen. What do you think the reason for that is? Maybe repeating the flat drop flip on the beginning and the end of the course?
I'm trying to think. That also combined with the backflip tuck no-hander off the cannon and the backflip tuck no-hander off of the cabin there. So maybe they're docking a bit for repeat tricks.
Well, in the gate right now, I suppose you could consider him one of my favorite riders because of the variety of tricks he throws. I had a chance to catch up with him on his home compound in Poland. Take a look.
Yo, man.
Yo.
What is up?
What's up, man?
Good to see you, man. This place is insane. How long have you had this property?
It's my 3rd year. Let's check it out. I'll show you up.
Oh! What? That is the last thing I was expecting.
Definitely the front pit was the key to learn all the crazy tricks like backflip, Superman sit by one hand.
But you did on that jump, right? I recognize that.
I'm trying to be unique, try to do something different.
I'm out of control, out of sight and out of mind. My body and soul grab a mic and now I'm blind.
So as you can see, he's got all the skill and all the tools to put together a top run here at Red Bull Joyride. But it all comes down to doing it when the starter says go. Simon Godziak dropping shortly. He's been slowly getting better and better results at this event. Can he get something better than his 7th place from 2017?
Anytime this guy drops in on a course, you're in for a treat. He's opting for the step down here. First rider to see do that today. Starting out with a backflip bar spin. Double tail up on the cannon. Such a slow rotation, but landing it perfect to pedals. Looking nice and relaxed coming into this 4-pack here. Starting out with a backflip tail whip, no pedals, clean pump.
There we go.
Huge classic signature Superman. A lot of freestyle motocross influence from Simon.
Even a little bit of style on the berm there.
Tuck no-hander into the cabin. Double truck driver out. So we're seeing quite a bit of variation in this run as well. This is going to be a strong jump for Simon right here.
Yes! The backflip Superman seat grab.
That's your favorite trick right there, Cam. Truck driver on, and how's he going to round it out with a tail whip? We don't see those off flat drops too often these days, so I think that's going to score really well for Simon there.
I think the strength of that run is the variety of the tricks. That's what we're always hoping for when we see him at the start of a course. And I'm really looking forward to the replays on that one because he ticked all the boxes.
He did. He had a little bit of everything fully crammed into that run. One of my favorite parts there was how relaxed he looked on that double tail up on the SRAM cannon.
You can tell the wind is calm. The riders are able to really hang their tricks out like you mentioned at the top of the show, Tyler.
That right there, in between those two jumps, we didn't see any pedals. He just maintained his speed perfectly, and that's ticking the flow box on the judges category.
Well, take a look at this. My favorite part of the run, horizontal. Thank you very much. That's how you accomplish perfect execution on a backflip Superman seat grab.
Now we saw him kind of going pretty slow into this last drop. I wasn't sure which trick he was going to pick. You got to go a little bit slower to tail up off a flat drop. So that's what he was doing there, landing it perfect to pedals. Rounding out his first of 2 runs in this 2018 Red Bull Joyride.
Well, look at the judges right now deliberating. They're thinking about the categories on the judging sheet right now. Amplitude, variety, style. I think all those things checked for Simon Godziek's run right there. Emilio Hansen packed his run so full, he's sitting on an 84.5, which is the current leading score. Now Simon Godziek, I mean, everything from a double tail up to flat drop flips to seat grab Superman flips, borrowing equally from BMX and freestyle motocross, which has definitely been Simon Godziek's strength as he slowly climbs the ladder in Crankworx slopestyle. As Simon Godziek makes the fans happy. Let's see if the judges make him happy. Okay, a 61, good enough for 5th place.
So judges not liking something about that run right there. So he's got another run to think about it, try to strategize, get back on pace, and try to get that score where he'd be happy with it.
Well, take a look at this guy right here. A legend on 2 wheels. Pro BMXer, that's why you know his name, but in the last 3 years, he's been one of the best riders in the world when it comes to slope-style mountain biking. Let's hear from Ryan Nyquist.
So this could be like my last Joyride, last Crankworx. I'm kind of switching into BMX mode. BMX Park got into the Olympics for Tokyo, and so being that I'm on the cusp of potentially making that happen, I'd probably have to kind of set the mountain bike down for a while, which means that I would probably lose my ranking and kind of fall out of the Crankworx tour. But I don't want to think about that. I want to enjoy while I'm here, enjoy the people, and just enjoy Crankworx because it's such an amazing event.
Ryan Nyquist is such a huge asset to have in Crankworx events. He's just the most lively personality out on the course during practice every single day. And of course, he carries such a history with him. All the riders out there grew up looking up to this guy. It's amazing he's adapted his skills to the mountain bike. A 3rd place in Joyride just a year ago. Can he repeat?
So this could be his last Red Bull Joyride. We're going to see if we're going to see him go out with a bang. Right there, 360 bar spin to bar spin back.
Whoa!
360, I don't even know what to call that. That's a Nyquist move right there. He grabs the center of his stem, does a one-hander. Backflip suicide no-hander to bar spin. He's going to be one of the only people we see do that trick and do a huge 720.
Smooth on that rotation.
Such a clean axis. He just locks it in and keeps it going until he touches it down to 2 tires. No foot can, no-hander into the cabin.
What?
Wow, suicide double truck out. So he's not holding back. His first run of 2 right here.
Okay. Still a 3 sui.
Suicide no-hander to a late one-hander, possibly looking for a bar spin in there. Coming to the last feature.
Oh, Ryan Nyquist, of course, looking to get the 360 off that drop. That's what put him on the podium last year. So flawless up until the final couple of features. Really hard to nitpick because he packed so much into that run, but there were a couple things that the judges aren't going to like.
He did have a great run going there. I heard him say yesterday how terrified he is of 360ing drops. This is a guy that didn't grow up riding drops. He came from a BMX background, riding strictly dirt and park. You don't see drops like that on those courses too often. So he was saying he's going to 360 that drop once or twice in his second run, and that would probably be it. So luckily he's got another chance here. That 720 right there, so locked in. He's probably done thousands of those in his day.
Now take a look. This might be where he could have got some more points, but he was probably looking for the bar spin, but still, it was a fully extended 360 suicide no-hander.
So take a look at this right here. See how his front wheel isn't spinning? He actually has to hit his front brake as soon as he comes off the takeoff so that his bars don't revert to backwards when he takes his hands off. Such a technical maneuver, one of the only guys we see riding with a front brake on this course today, but it allows him to do tricks like that and then linking it into the 720 right here.
Keeping the nose down on the landing. Judges love that. And the 2 tires pretty close to the same time right there. So the judges will nitpick that final kokanee drop tabletop. You know he was looking for the 360. But what's he sitting with right now? 53.75, good enough for 6th place for Ryan Nyquist. So if he wants to repeat on his podium from last year, he's going to have to do it in run number 2.
Judges looking for perfection these days. Back in the day, you used to be able to miss a trick. Not anymore. The riders are so good, the talent is so high that you have to trick everything perfectly to get into the 80s and the elusive 90s.
Well, you could blame it on the judges, or you could blame it on Emilio Hansen starting out the event with such a flawless run. Now this guy right here, Anthony Missouri, you remember him from his breakout performance in 2011 at the ripe age of 15. Believe it or not, he's the veteran in the field today. Yeah, Ryan Nyquist might be 39 years old, but Anthony Missouri has been competing in Crankworx Slopestyle longer than anybody else in the field today.
Riding in front of his home crowd. He's a couple hours away from here. Starting out with a huge trick there with a backflip tail up off the step down. A front flip tuck no-hander on the SRAM cannon. So he's on a good one right now, Cam. Backflip double bar spin on the first jump. Nice triple combo. Coming into that cash roll. I love the axis that he gets on those. Now coming in to the Red Bull cabin. We saw clips of him doing some good combos in and out of this in practice. Backflip, 1-footed cannon, 360. Oh. Wow, going for a 360 tail up out. He just yanked a little bit too hard on that takeoff, going down hard, but it looks like he's going to be okay.
Anthony Missouri always puts his 360 tail ups on such a wild axis, really leaning over that left shoulder. Makes it so much more difficult, though, when he's riding a step down.
He was not holding back in that run right there. Everything was looking so good. He wanted to put down his first run perfect.
Well, so much brilliance in that run before he had that unfortunate crash on the whale tail. It looks like he's going to climb up onto this landing and finish out his run.
Glad to see that he looks like he's going to be okay from that. That is not a small feature to fall off of.
I hope those of you at home can get a feeling for how incredibly loud this crowd is. Look at that sea of people. Just thunderous roars when Anthony Missouri, basically a hometown boy, raises his hands to them. Well, let's take a look back at the replay. Before that crash, one thing that really stood out for me, of course, that backflip tail up off the start feature, but on this cannon right here, take a look at how early he took off on this front flip no-hander. All right, stop the tape there. See, this is how far away he is from the end of this thing, and he's already preloading. You see his body leaning back before he lunges forward. Roll the tape, and look, he completely leaves the log a whole bike length before the end of it. Great extension of that front flip no-hander. But now take a look at where the run came to a screeching halt, Tyler.
So right here, he yanked for a 360 tail up and was just a little off axis. I'm not sure what happened there. But that's basically like him jumping off of a 2-story roof, landing straight on his knees. So showing he's a tough kid. He's going to be back, ready for run number 2. So happy to see him walk away from that.
Now throwing that trick on that axis on a feature like the step out of a whale tail just shows such a level of commitment from this young rider, who's actually the veteran out here today at 32.75. He'll look to improve that in his second opportunity. So we talked earlier about the Crankworx FMBA Slopestyle World Championship leaderboard. Here's a look at that list right now. Take a look at Tomas Lemoine, currently sitting 6th in that right there. Tomas Lemoine was the last European to win Red Bull Joyride. That happened in 2012. But here today, to preserve his place in the 2019 Tour and get an invite to Rotorua, he needs 6th place or higher. So a lot on the line for Tommy G right now.
Tomas Lemoine, always a top contender, and it's crazy to think that he may fall off Tour next year. Just shows how high the level is here today, and this is a pretty serious moment for Tomas Lemoine. He's got to put it together. Looks like he's opting for the flat drop here. 360 tuck no-hander, a huge combo to start with off that flat drop. Into an opposite 360 tuck no-hander. So Tomas Lemoine is doing everything he needs to right now to maintain his spot on Tour. 360 bar spin and tail up. So much style in that trick, the way that he does that right there. A 360 opposite downside tail up. Looking so calm and collected for everything that he has on the line right now. Coming into the Red Bull Joyride cam and a backflip. One-footed can on, a 360 one-footed can X up. I love how he's linking these tricks pretty similarly with the combos, back to back. Backflip bar spin and tuck no-hander. Everything is so smooth with this guy right now. Double tail whip on, slipping a pedal.
Yeah! Wow. Oh, the name of the game in slopestyle mountain biking is identify your strengths and play toward them when it counts. Tomas Lemoine did exactly that.
I can't believe how calm he looked that whole run. It looked like he just took a deep breath and said, I'm going to do what I do best. He's been struggling to put runs together all season. He's had one good result in Rotorua. And now we're seeing him back in top form here.
Well, that's exactly what we're hoping for when we see Tomas Lemoine at the top of the course. Style, composure, and variety, linking all these tricks together with ease.
Look at how nosed in he is right there on that truck driver to tail whip. And that trick is such a risky one because you have to spin a little bit harder than normal to get that tail whip around. So if he doesn't throw the tail whip, he's going to over-rotate the truck driver. So full commitment right there for Tommy G. Now this right here, we've seen him do that in years past onto the final feature, slipping a pedal, getting a crank, and I don't know how he was still able to throw so much style in that 360 table off that kokanee drop. The final feature we've seen take a lot of guys out.
Diego Cavarzasi approves all the riders in the field right there. If you ask them what your favorite thing to watch during a slopestyle competition is, most of them will say Tommy G's 360 table. Doing it off the final kokanee drop is something that the judges will also love. He moves into second place, 77.75. Great run for Tomas Lemoine, doing everything within his power to get a 6th or better here today to secure his position into next year's tour. So next rider at the top of the course, keep the momentum rolling. A new rider on the scene this year out of Germany at the ripe age of 20. We're talking about Eric Fedko. He's been on a tear this season. We got to take a look back at Leger, France, round number 3.
Yeah, I want to end up on the podium for sure. I'm feeling good, so yeah, I think I for sure have a run which could end up on the podium.
Well, he called it out and he delivered. He said he wanted to end up on the podium. He got a 3rd place in Leger, solidifying his status as one of the best in the world, but this is his first time on the biggest stage in the world, Red Bull Joyride.
Fedko seeming so confident for his first year on tour. I can't wait to see what he has planned for us right now. Backflip double bar spin off that step down feature, coming into the SRAM cannon with a 360 tail whip to bar spin. Huge move for Eric Fedko right there. Backflip tail whip, perfect to pedals. Getting speed there for that signature 360 Indian Air. So much extension. These riders loving this course out here that the Joyride crew has put together for them. 360 downside tail whip in, 360 tail whip to tabletop out. He looks like he's just having so much fun out there, throwing some of the biggest combos we've seen all day so far. Backflip, triple bar spin, just squeezing so many combos into this run. Coming into the kokanee drop, straight backflip on. What did he have out? Double truck driver. This kid just keeps getting better and better every stop.
Ridiculous. Eric Fedko, the Terminator. We watched him all practice, thinking he was looking strongest out of anybody out there. And then he's adding things to what he had in practice. We didn't even know he had those tricks up his sleeve.
He gets so much better every time we see him at these Crankworx stops. I can't imagine what he's going to be doing next season with what he's already doing his first year on tour.
Well, this kid just oozes confidence on the bike and off, but look at him, look how he adds these things that were unexpected.
360 tail up would have been a big move right there, but still throwing in a bar spin after that. Backflip tail up, landing perfect at the top. This is becoming one of his signature moves, a 360 Indian Air.
Look at this. He is actually going to be vertical on this, straight up and down. We would have been content with horizontal. That would score big points. He crashed on that trick at round number 2 in Innsbruck. But not only is he landing it right now, he has more extension.
This was my favorite part of his run right there. Huge 360 downside tail up in. It's actually an opposite tail up for him. linked to the 360 regular topside tail whip out and squeaking a little tabletop in there just for added style.
Now it seems like he's just seeing in slow motion today.
Double truck driver off, another huge triple combo to round things out. Him and Tomas Lemoine just both looked like they were riding with so much confidence right there. Like you said, it looks like they were riding in slow motion.
Well, it was crazy to start the competition out with that run from Emilio Hansen, but now as we work our way through our lineup into our top riders, we're starting to see some runs that could contend.
This could shake things up a bit. Judges are going to have a tough one deciding on what score to put on Eric Fedko's run.
Well, Eric Fedko, a guy who just oozes confidence, and judges right now who are hoping they can put him in the right place to please the fans out here. Eric Fedko, what will it be? 88.25. He moves into the lead, knocking Emilio Hansen into second place.
You got to believe last year Eric Fedko was just dreaming about being at Red Bull Joyride. Now he's sitting in first place above all his heroes, all his idols. He's worked so hard to be here, and now he's the man to beat at this moment.
Well, we got a glimpse of him last year at Red Bull District Ride, and we thought this really could be a game changer if he has a good season and makes it to Red Bull Joyride. He did, and look at that. His name's at the top of the list right now with 4 riders to go. The next in the gate right now, having this season of his life, the Italian rider Diego Cavarzassi.
This guy's really dialed in his runs this season. Unfortunately, he took a crash in practice, may have a broken thumb that we're hearing right now. But this guy's determined to put this run down. He's not going to give up. He was looking great in practice, starting off with a 360 on that flat drop. A 360 on the SRAM cannon. See if he has anything big for us planned here on these back-to-back jumps. Straight backflip, so this isn't quite, oh, there we go. There's a front flip. That's looking like a Diego Cavarzassi run.
You got to imagine how much pain he's riding in right now from that thumb injury. Tyler, you've done that before. You know what it feels like.
Oh, thumbs are, you don't, that's what he crashed on right there, stopping it to 2 tires. You don't realize how much you use your thumb till you actually hurt one.
So Diego Cavarzassi, 3 bronze medals, or 2 third places so far this year. His breakout performance came last year right here where he got a 5th place. That was his best performance so far up until that point. But making it onto the podium twice this year, of course, he was doing so much in practice before breaking that thumb. And you know that in the second run, he's got a little bit of room to wiggle right now if he's able to push through that pain. We talked to him earlier, and he said that he was going to do an easy run in the first run and then have something to work with in the second run. But it's got to be a mental goal right here to do the trick that he crashed on.
So that's what took him out. Admirable to see Diego riding with that broken thumb. One of the most painful things, that's your main contact point with your bike. Every time you land, it wants to pull your thumb away from your hand. And man, I can't imagine how bad that must have felt.
It just shows how much he loves this sport right here. I'm sure he's having a hard time even holding on to that water bottle with his right hand, but he just did that run. Flips, front flips. Hopefully he's able to thrive off of the adrenaline the crowd's giving him right now and stomp some more stuff in run number 2. We talked about that esteemed panel of judges right there. Scott Aldrich, Grant Fielder, Chopper, if you used to watch the old New World Disorder movies, Jeff Gullovich, a legend in the sport, and Craig Kinsman. Those are your 4 judges, of course, being overlooked by Paul Rack in the background right there, just to make sure he can give a little perspective, give these riders the best score, the score that they deserve. 41.25 for Diego Cavarzassi. We'll see him in run number 2 if he's able to continue to shake off the pain. Now, through all 4 stops of the Crankworx World Tour, we're trying to figure out who is going to become the king and who's going to become the queen. There's 30 events. Every rider can enter as many as they want. They rack up points from all those disciplines. $20,000 to the rider who racks up the most points. And our next rider in the gate is sitting in second place in the king standings, Tomas Lemoine. He's sitting 90 points behind downhiller Sam Blankenstop. So more at stake here than just Red Bull Joyride honors. Tomas Lemoine looking at the big picture.
He's been working so hard all season riding multiple events, not just focusing on slopestyle. He's been winning pump tracks, winning speed and styles. He's a 2018 speed and style world champion, such a talented athlete. But right now, he's got his sights set on Joyride. If he does well here, he could win that King of Crankworx overall. Double truck driver, landing a little bit over-rotated but maintaining his speed. Backflip off of the SRAM cannon. Now this guy is also so smooth, just like we saw Tomas Lemoine and Eric Fedko. Love how calm and collected he always rides. No pedals there. Backflip double tail whip. Slipping a pedal. He did have a crash yesterday, said he's feeling pretty sore, so it's good to see him still pulling out those huge combos that we usually see him do. Backflip double bar spin in. 360 tail whip out. That's the move that we saw take out Anthony Mazzeri. Now he's coming into the Red Bull super kicker. Backflip tuck no hander to bar spin, so he's squeezing a lot of triple combos into this run. Front flip onto the cabin and a truck driver off.
Yes! Smooth finish for Tomas Lemoine and great variety in his tricks. I'll tell you one thing, I'm excited that rear tire held onto the rim after that over-rotated first jump.
It's gotta feel good. He's been working so hard all season, like I said, to get all those points. He put a run together. That front flip onto the kokanee drop, always a crowd pleaser.
Well, the judges loved it when Eric Fedko was sneaking last-minute tricks into his run. And Tomas Lemoine was doing a lot of the same things out there. So it's going to be interesting to see how they scored that. For an update on Thomas's opinion on this run, let's send it down to Michaela.
So you crashed yesterday. How are you feeling today? How was that run for you?
Didn't feel so good in the morning and felt better while riding in the day. It was not my best run ever, but I just tried my best and I want to show everyone what I can do.
How great is this crowd today?
Insane. It's like you can see no dirt. You just see people. That's sick.
Does that help your motivation in chasing that King of Crankworx title?
I don't even know if I can be King of Crankworx, but I just wanted to do as good as I can be today, and we'll see.
Well, we can't wait to see what you got for second round. Good luck out there.
Thanks, Michaela. It's hard enough to wrap your head around what you just did when you get to the bottom of the slopestyle run, and even harder to think of the big picture, the King of Crankworx standings. But look at some of the highlights of this run, Tyler.
Battling such adversity, some of these riders, they have to do these tricks in practice as well, and they crash sometimes. So a lot of these riders soar by the time they get to these runs.
Well, what do the judges have to say? A 65.5, good enough for 6th place overall so far for Tomas Lemoine. Really excited to see him get to the top of the course for his second run. Well, look at that. Wait no further. The next rider in the gate, Nicolai Roy Gaskin, the only rider with an opportunity today to win the Triple Crown. Nicolai Roy Gaskin had this to say about the event today.
Oh, honestly, if things work out and I was to win, I would be speechless. Wouldn't even know what to say. You know, it's something that all of us riders know is there and know is possible, but it doesn't really seem achievable, even to kind of get in this position to be able to win it. So, yeah, to actually complete that and win it would be beyond words. So, yeah, not even trying to think about that right now. Just trying to enjoy Whistler and enjoy this epic course and get my run dialed in.
An extraordinary circumstance that Nicolai Roy Gaskin has found himself in today, but the exact type of scenario that he thrives under. What do you think we're going to see, Tyler?
I think we're going to see classic Nicolai Roy Gaskin run right here. He never holds back, such a competitor, always going for the win, trying to think about the big picture, but more importantly, just thinking about Red Bull Joyride one step at a time. Oh, right
perfect.
There. Huge cork 720 to start things out. 360 tail up on the SRAM cannon. This guy has been looking so much more smooth every event we've seen him at this season.
Oh!
Front cork 1080, the twister he calls it. Yanking for a double backflip.
How did he get that around?
Oh my gosh, I never thought we would see those two tricks linked back to back. Nicolai Roy Gaskin not holding back. Coming into the Red Bull cabin, backflip in, front flip out. This jump right here suits Nicolai's style. What will we see? 1, 2, 3, triple tail whip, perfect to pedals. Coming into the last feature. Right now, everything is going just the way that Nicolai planned. Backflip up, and a double tail whip off of the kokanee drop. I don't know if we've ever seen that on the last feature.
Well, that's a new one for Red Bull Joyride. Nicolai Roy Gaskin making history in more ways than one. Will it be enough for the Triple Crown? Can he overtake the 88.25 held by Eric Fedko? You got to believe he did everything in his power. That was one of the best runs we've ever seen.
Looking so relieved. We always see his crazy celebrations, but there's so much more on the line right now. I think he's just so relieved that that worked out the way that he wanted. So he's not sure where he's going to end up in the scoring, but I got to believe that may shake things up.
Oh, man, some historic links in that run. We got to rewind the tape and savor all those moments.
Cork 720 off that step down right there. He's got a feature at home to practice those on. He's gotten them so locked in. Front cork 1080. Twister on the first jump of 2. Such a risky move. That right there, I was so uncertain if he would have all the rotation. Look at his face, just grinning, trying to get that last double backflip to come all the way around to 2 tires.
Oh, he just squeezed it, didn't he? But he still landed rear tire first. Great air awareness.
Triple tail up right here. The only guy that you'll see make that look so easy. Looks like so much effort for most riders. Backflip on this right here. Double tail up off of a flat drop. I can't fathom how hard that must be to get the pop and have enough air time to get both those tail ups around.
Wow, the score for Nicolai Roy Gaskin, what will it be? Will it be enough to overtake Eric Fedko? How high will this thing climb? Nicolai Roy Gaskin goes into the lead with a 92.75. Here comes the celebration.
There it is. We didn't see it until he got his score.
Classic Nicolai Roy Gaskin. Get in there, Michaela.
All right, you're just making history today and looking so incredibly smooth out there. You're making it look so easy. What's going on?
Yeah, this means so much to me. It's been since 2015 that I even finished a run on this course, so doing that whole run and coming into this finish corral, that was an insane moment for me. And yeah, I'm stoked over the moon, and we'll see how the rest of the day goes.
And I see your hand is touching something kind of interesting over here. What do we got over here?
Yeah, I'm super stoked on the opportunity. The only one out here that can do this today, and I gave it my all in that first run, and I got a few things I can step up, so I'm ready to give 100% to try to get this thing today.
Well, with that run, and you still got something left in the bag, I'd say you have a really good chance today of getting that Triple Crown of Slopestyle.
Nicolai Roy Gaskin doing exactly what he needs to do, everything in his power to put himself at the top of that leaderboard. Let's take a look at that leaderboard right now. Emilio Hansen making his comeback, hanging out in 3rd place, podium position. Eric Fedko, can he hold on to a 2nd place? Nicolai Roy Gaskin, a handful of points above him, but there's one rider left to drop for run number 1, and he had this to say.
I wasn't mentally and physically ready to compete in Europe because I was busy with my short film, and it totally went to show, like with my riding. I was busy filming. I wasn't busy getting ready for those contests, and it killed me to give the Triple Crown to him because that's basically what I did. So yeah, I'm here, and I'd like to do the run that I'm setting out to do, and if I can do that, maybe it'll get me a ring, and Nicolai can try the Triple Crown another year.
Wow, look at that. Brett Reeder with the eyes on the prize. He says, I don't care if Nicolai has a chance to get the Triple Crown. I'm here to win this event. I don't care how many casualties there may be. He's going to do whatever it takes to stomp this run right now, and this has the workings to be a historical run.
Starting out with a half cab off that start drop. Probably the only guy you're going to see do that. That was a backflip opposite tail up on the SRAM cannon. Not holding back, making it tough on his competitors right now. You know Nicolai is watching on Cork 720 on the first jump there. Backflip, double tail up on the second jump. We've seen him, that trick, take him out years past Red Bull Joyride, getting it down. Opposite, Cork 720, into the cabin. We have never seen that before. Triple truck driver out. Insane 2 tricks linked back to back right there. Front flip bar spin, holy cow, he had to yank that one around. Nice little moment to catch his breath, get things together. He's got something huge right here.
Yes! Oh! Going down on the backflip tail up on the flat drop. Wow. Brett Reeder absolutely going for it.
Such an insane trick to see off of that kokanee drop. We never thought we would see a flat backflip tail whip. Brett Reeder going for it there, hanging it all out. Just a slight under rotation. We gotta hope that he's able to get himself back up in the gate for run number 2.
To see somebody pop up so quickly after crashing on a trick of that magnitude, on a feature of that magnitude, just goes to show how these guys are made of steel, both physically and mentally. Tyler, let's take a look back at this run. He packed so much in.
This was a classic Brett Reeder run. Trying to cram so much in, but this right here, getting all the speed he needed for that backflip tail whip, just miscalculated the rotation a bit. It is a big drop, bigger than what we've seen him do that on in the past. So he may have slowed his rotation down a little bit, maybe a little bit too much. There's not
Brett
a
Reeder
lot of airtime
throwing the
on that.
thumbs up and just eyes on the prize. The same focus he had in the start gate, he's taking that all the way back up to the start gate for run number 2. But let's take a look at the current standings. Nicolai Roy Gaskin firmly in the lead with a 92.75. Eric Fedko in podium position. These guys dodging the bullet of Brett Reeder, because you know if he would have stomped that backflip tailwhip off the flat drop, it would have been such a high score. And Tyler, some of these riders we saw not complete a run, so we're looking forward to see them in run number 2.
Exactly. Some guys trying to clean things up, just get a run down. And there's a lot of guys at the bottom of the list right there that could really shake things up. They could make this tough on Nicolai. They could make this tough on anybody in the field. So we still have a lot planned for run number 2. You never know what's going to happen.
Well, for those of you who are surprised to see Brett Reeder pop up so quickly after that big crash, just know these guys are just as good at crashing as they are at riding. Take a look at how they got there.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will now be showing our slopestyle safety demonstration. In the event of an unplanned emergency, here are several alternate exit strategies. Please take a few minutes now to identify the appropriate option. In a scenario where you make the trick but fail to make it to the landing zone, you'll be forced to execute the case landing. Please assume the brace position, eyes wide, body loose, legs extended, ready to absorb the impact. Cabin crew, please be seated.
As we start our descent, the captain may determine that a mid-flight ejection is the best option. In the case of a mid-air turbulence, separating yourself from your bicycle is vital.
Pushing away and organizing a two-point landing is preferred.
At ejection, for your safety and comfort, the tuck and roll is the preferred selection for reducing the force of impact. Other tactics include the run out and the slide.
Cork 720 no-hander. Oh.
Avoid a sudden stop.
In the event of completely uncontrolled landing, your default choice often becomes the ragdoll. At this time, place your portable electronic devices into holy sh mode. Try to stay loose and brace for impact.
After an injury-free, unscheduled landing, please check around for any personal belongings that may have shifted during the flight. On behalf of the entire Crankworx FMBA Slopestyle World Championship crew, we'd like to thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again in the near future. Have a nice day. Don't crash.
Well, that near future will be round number 2 of Red Bull Joyride. Ridiculous riding in run number 1. Of course, Nicolai Roy Gaskin leading the charge. Fedko close behind with the resurgence of Emilio Hansen hanging out there in 3rd. Well, if you like what you saw in run number 1, don't you go away, because number 2 runs coming up after this.
Thanks for joining us again. If you're just tuning in now, don't worry. You can watch what you missed. Go to the Red Bull TV Analyzer. You're able to watch anything you want whenever you want. Click on Everybody's Run, watch it once, watch it twice, throw it up on your social media. Catch up on things that you may have seen but you want to see again. Always a good option to do during these breaks.
Well, take a look at the crowd right in there. They're so excited to see second runs because their appetite has just basically been whet by the first runs there. We started off so strong with Emilio Hansen. Like Tyler said, if you miss it, go to the Red Bull TV Analyzer. If you miss Nicolai Roy Gaskin's run, that's one thing you're definitely going to have to catch up on because there's some highlights in that run we're going to be talking about for years. Now, one thing that you definitely missed because it wasn't in our broadcast is the Riverside Women's Only Jump Jam. 15 years ago, we started having jump contests in Whistler, and it really spawned what we see here today in slopestyle. Well, now, 15 years later, it's the women's turn. The Riverside jumps are a nice little recreational park. Everything from small tables to big doubles. And that woman right there, Caroline Buchanan, took home top honors. First place for her. Stephanie Nishka, looks like she got second place there. But really excited to see 15 years after slopestyle started, now the women are getting their taste. Who knows? Look at surfing, look at snowboarding and skiing. The riding the women are doing in those sports is way better than any recreational man. Stuff that would place mid-pack in men's competition. Who knows, maybe we'll see women in the slopestyle eventually.
We're seeing more and more every year, so that was a great start. The Riverside Jump Jam, big step for women's athletes out here at Crankworx.
Well, the Riverside dirt jumps in Whistler are only one little sample of all the fun you can have out here outside of the Crankworx venue. One guy who's no stranger to Joyride, Darren Berrecloth, he has some fun here in Whistler in his own way. Take a look at how he gets down in Whistler.
For a lot of people, they come to Whistler and think you got the main gondola right there and the Whistler Bike Park. A lot of people don't realize that Creekside is almost another entity of wicked trails dropping down into the Creekside village. You know, it doesn't get as much traffic as the main village does, and the trails are absolutely insane. This is the 15th anniversary for Crankworx. To see it grow from such a small, core scene to a global entity where people come from around the world just to come for the Crankworx Festival. It blows my mind, Super stoked to see how big that sport has become. Man, comparing the trails to back then when we first started to now, it's pretty insane. I competed at the very first Joyride when it was just 2 dirt jumps right in front of the Longhorn. And you remember back in the old days when our slopestyle courses weren't this smooth and this buff and well built. We just rode Earth Circus, and it's insane how buff and smooth and flowy it is. I'd credit that to the evolution of trail building and your guys like Tom Pro and the Whistler Bike Park crew. They've been learning a ton over the years, and in the end goal, giving us a better time on the bike and having more sweet trails to shred, which is pretty rad.
We'll have a look at who we have hanging out with us in the booth. That dude you were just watching, Darren Berrecloth. Darren, great to have you.
Thanks, guys. I've known these two beauty fellows for quite some time. They are definitely brothers and definitely 2 of my best buds.
We've seen some stuff together, haven't we, Darren?
Yeah, we have, my friend.
Definitely stuff outside the Crankworx venue, but let's reminisce about some of the highlights we've seen since the action started here back in the day. The first Crankworx Festival, 2004, we learned about a guy who goes by the name of Paul Bass.
Absolutely, it was insane.
This was a huge moment for slopestyle right here. Backflip on to tail whip off. We never thought we'd see that, and now it changed the game.
Well, speaking of game changers, that was a glimpse into the future of what you'd see. But another guy who changed the game, doing something that was unthinkable, was this guy right here. You remember when he 360'd the road gap in 2005? If you weren't there, maybe you're too young, take a look at this. So I remember people talking earlier on in the week, Darren says he might 360 the road gap, and everybody said, No way, that's impossible. What was it like, man?
Well, I was pretty confident just because I've been spinning quite a few drops, filming and whatnot, and a lot of people thought it wouldn't be done, but at the same time, I was super confident with it, and I just had to go for it.
I remember Kurt Voorhees, he was the only other guy in the world who maybe was capable of that at the time, and he was like, man, maybe in like 15 years when the prize money gets up there, but it's not worth it now. But you thought it was worth it to progress the sport, and look at what's happening out there now.
Sometimes it's not about the prize money. Sometimes it's just about self-pride and motivation. You just got to do what you want to do.
I love it. Another monumental move, 2008. I remember thinking about the possibility of somebody doing a backflip tail up off of a step down. I thought it might happen.
This is the year he won, right?
Well, he won the next year. This was the best trick in 2008. But I feel like this was 6 or 7 years before its time. You guys remember this?
Absolutely. It was just like, what? Did we just see a double combo off a step down?
So we thought we would never see that then, and now we're seeing Brett Reeder try that off of a flat takeoff, which is hard to explain why it's so much harder.
Well, how about this? Let's explain it like this. It took 10 years from the time when Greg did that off of a lip down.
How young we were.
Hey, I know. What happened to us?
Man, we got old.
You guys are old, man.
But yeah, 10 years later, now people are doing it without the aid of a radius takeoff. How much harder is it to do it off of a flat takeoff?
It's like 2 times as hard, at least, maybe 3 times as hard, because you got to pull all that rotation out of a flat drop rather than letting a curved radius put you there.
There was a time when people were just wondering if it would be possible to do a straight backflip off a flat drop.
Absolutely.
So, absolutely ridiculous what we're seeing so far here today. But Darren, you had mentioned how difficult it is to crash off that last feature and know that you have to wait through halftime and hopefully drop in before the pain sets in, right?
You know what's crazy is like I go deja vu, and I know a lot of things you've seen tonight, it goes deja vu for yourself competing in this event. But for myself, I remember the year I had a winning run, crashed on the final feature, and right behind me, Cavanaugh would have had a winning run, crashed on the last feature, and then like 10 minutes later, we were joined each other in the freaking hospital because we had broken bones.
It's magic or tragic out here. You never know what's going to happen, but one constant is everybody always goes for it. This guy, anytime he showed up at the start gate, he was always going for it. Do you remember when he won his 3rd consecutive Joyride?
Absolutely mental. This guy is such a machine. He takes competition more serious than any other competitor out there, and man, he's had the best winning streak that I think we've ever seen.
I remember when Paul Bass won 2 in a row. Everybody thought, well, that was ridiculous. There's no way anybody could win 3 in a row. But never count Brandon Semenuk out. He did just that. Last year, he won again, made it 5 total. So he's bowing out this year, opening up the door for guys like Nicolai Roy Gaskin and Brett Reeder. Darren, that was fun, man. Thanks so much for joining us up here and reminiscing of old times. We have plenty of memories outside Crankworx, but those were some of the highlights for us.
Absolutely. You know, we spent so many years up on this hill hanging out in front of these awesome fans, and it's just great to see this sport grow so big, and it's just crazy.
Well, our time is long past. Right now, a guy who's looking to etch his names in the history book is Nicolai Roy Gaskin. Take a look at the current leaderboard, Tyler.
So Nicolai has been having the season of his life right now, getting better and better at every stop. The only man in contention for that Triple Crown, Eric Fedko, our series rookie, sitting in 2nd place. And what I'm the most excited about is Emile Johansen, 3rd place. We haven't seen him compete in the last 12 months. Such adversity to come back and lay it down, Red Bull Joyride. Lucas Knopf rounding out 8th place. We see Torquato down in that 14th spot. We know he's a heavy hitter, so he's got a lot planned for us in 2nd run.
Well, we saw our top 2 out of the 14 competitors at the top of that list. And one thing we always do when we're talking about judging is we start comparing runs side by side. What did this rider do on the 1st feature, 2nd feature? Let's do that with our current top 2 runs right now. Nicolai Roy Gaskin on the left, Eric Fedko on the right.
So these guys squeezing so many tricks in. Right there, we see Fedko getting one more trick up on Nicolai. But then coming in here, Nicolai gets back ahead with this cork front 1080. Fedko with the backflip tail up. So right now, Nicolai's going to edge him out. Double backflip versus 360 Indian air. So crazy to think that we're comparing these tricks side by side to each other.
All right, well, into the whale tail. Nicolai with a straight backflip. Eric Fedko up in the ante with a 360 downside whip in, a 360 tail whip to table out. But a front flip for Nicolai Roy Gaskin, that's a trick that took out Diego Cavanaugh. That's definitely heavy.
The signature triple tail whip from Nicolai Roy Gaskin right there. A backflip, triple bar spin from Fedko. These guys' runs were so on par with what they have to do to win this competition. But that right there was a nail in the coffin for Nicolai's score in the 90s. A double tail whip off of that flat drop.
Well, it's really fun seeing those two runs side by side. You can see some of the similarities, but maybe some of the small things that Nicolai did, not small, I'm talking 1080 into double flip. That's kind of just next level stuff that puts him at the top of the leaderboard. But we have a whole lot more riding to come here. Run number 1 in the bag, but it's best of 2 format out here, and the second runs are still to come. This is Red Bull Joyride, second runs after the break. Well, poetry in motion right there, those slow-mo highlights from run number 1, but it's all about run number 2 right now in Red Bull Joyride. What will the riders do to up the ante? We're about to find out, because second runs start right now.
It's not just a mountain bike festival now, like this is getting bigger and bigger.
The crowd is going wild out there.
Dude, it doesn't get much better than that.
It's one of the biggest things that has happened to the sport in the last 10 years, for sure.
What a huge run. We could have a new leader here.
The vibe here is what really makes the finale so special.
Well, let's do it. The riders are back to the top of the course, and we're gonna start reverse order. So the lowest score from run number 1 will be dropping first. Now, if you remember back, he was the second rider to drop. He crashed on the second feature of the course, but he'll be the first rider dropping in for second runs right now. I'm talking about the Italian, Torquato Score.
Not sitting where he wants to be right now, sitting in last place. He's worked so hard to climb his way back on tour. He won the event, or no, I'm sorry, he got second at the event, the Big White Invitational, that got him the wild card to be here. It hasn't been an easy road. Crashing on that second feature must be frustrating. He's had some time to think it over, and now we're seeing him back in the start gate, wanting to put it down and ride through that Red Bull finish corral at Joyride.
Well, luckily, he was able to slide out smooth from that backflip tail up off the cannon. We're about to find out if he's going to make a change to that trick choice or if he's going to go straight for that dream run.
A lot of pressure on the young Italian right now. This is his last chance to put it together, get some points to get him himself back on tour full-time next year. Starting off the same as his first run. Let's see if he can get this. Changing his tricks there, going for a straight backflip. So now this will all be an improvement from his first run. A perfect cork 720, going to the second jump into a cash roll.
Oh, there's that link.
Wow, landing a little bit short, but still maintaining speed. Making that look smooth for what it was. A tail whip up into the Red Bull cabin. A backflip no-footed can out. That's a bit of his signature move right there. Not an easy trick to do on a step down.
Oh boy. Wow, how did he pull that around?
Double backflip on the step up there. That jump puts you so high in the air. Tuck no hander on, coming into the last feature. Backflip.
Yeah.
Putting it down to 2 tires. Torquato riding through the Red Bull finish just as he planned as soon as he woke up this morning, wanting to get his run all the way down to the bottom.
Great job, Torquato Testa. During our halftime break, we heard Darren Berrecloth speak toward how difficult it is to have a crash and then get back up for second run and stomp something. Even more difficult for Torquato Testa because he had to wait so long. He was only the second person to drop. So let's see where he decided to take the risk out of this second feature. It looked like he was maybe trying to take his hands off on that backflip, but the 4-pack was one of the strengths of the run.
This right here is one of my favorites. A backflip no-footed can out of that cabin. He makes it look so easy, but you don't see many people doing that trick off of a step down. Double backflip on that Red Bull step up right there, just going so high, having to rotate that so slow because of how much airtime there is on that jump. Right here, he knows he's almost down to the bottom. He's just got to pull back on that backflip, put it down to 2 tires, complete his second run of 2. So that was his last chance out here. We're going to see where he's going to get ranked in just a minute here.
Will it be enough to slide into podium position? He'll need to better an 84.5 in order to land himself in podium contention. The judges doing their job. Torquato Testa definitely did his. So much air awareness. One of the only guys I know in the world who does double backflips every time he goes riding. You can see a very busy scene up there in the judges' tower. A lot on the line. There is not a third run. This next score will be Torquato's score for 2018. It's a 71.25, slotting him into 6th place. So a big smile on his face. That performance will give him valuable points toward the 2019 season. So take a look at how that shakes up the leaderboard. We mentioned earlier that Tomas Lemoine needs to place 6th or higher in order to solidify himself on that start list for Rotorua 2019. Tomas Lemoine still sitting in 4th, Torquato Testa in 6th. So Lemoine still looking safe, but a whole lot more riders to come. A lot more riders who messed up their first run also, like this guy right here, the veteran in the field, Anthony Mazzeri. Now, if you don't remember that mistake from run number 1, we'll refresh your memory. Take a look.
His run was looking like it could be in great contention to shake up that top 3. So I hope he's able to put it down in run number 2. But here's what happened in run number 1. Going for that 360 tail up, something just went weird off that. He pulled so hard, got off axis, took a hard hit. But showing resilience, watching him now, starting his second run of 2, back in the gate. We'll see if he starts into the step down feature to start things off again. This is one of my favorite things we see him do. The backflip tail up on the step down. He makes that look so easy. That is such a technical move. The front flip tuck no hander. Run number 2 going perfectly to plan, just like we saw in run number 1. Can he hold it together? Backflip double bar spin. Pull that around. Just going for that cash roll. He was able to land it in run number 1. Just a slight under rotation. These guys work so hard all week to piece these runs together, and that's got to be such a frustrating moment for Anthony Mazzeri right there. He was looking so good.
No room for error out there. It's like a chain reaction. If one trick just even goes 10% sour, it's going to be like a domino effect. Now, Anthony Mazzeri not having the speed that he would have liked to do that front cork 720. We call that a cash roll on the second jump in the 4-pack.
He wasn't holding back. He knew the run he wanted to put down. He went for it both times. He's going to finish out his run here for the crowd.
Well, we're not going to find out if he was going to stick with his original plan out of that whale tail. He It just goes to show, even the guy who is the veteran in the field right here has more experience than anybody in front of this crowd. You can still have a mistake when the pressure's on. But this crowd loves him, and they're welcoming him into the finish corral, regardless of whether or not he stomped his dream run. Just great to have Anthony Mazzeri out here.
Always a crowd favorite. He kind of started his career here at Red Bull Joyride many years ago. Always a fan favorite.
So from two riders who had an issue in their first runs to a rider who had an issue in practice earlier today, he had this front flip crash. We have POV footage of that crash. Take a look. Wow, what do you think, Ty? Maybe a little under rotation?
Yeah, I gotta wonder if he was going for a combo right there. Just missed rotation. We saw him front flipping out of that so many times in practice, landing it perfect to tires. Just one miscalculation, and now he finds himself in the start gate of Red Bull Joyride, nursing a broken thumb. Not where he wants to be sitting, not feeling the way he wants to be feeling, but this guy, you can never count him out.
We're gonna find out right now how he's able to push through the pain and hopefully ride close to his potential, which for him is such a high level. What's he gonna muster?
Been riding so good all season. He's already stepping it up from run one there. Oh, I think he's going for it, Cam. Starting out with a 360X up into a 360 tail up. Letting that pain fade. Not thinking about it at all. Backflip tail up coming up a little bit short. Front flip tuck no hander. He's putting it all together right now. You know that thumb's got to be hurting him, but he's trying to not think about it for the next 20 or so seconds. Just put this run together.
He goes for the front flip out of the whale tail. Oh, perfect landing.
That's what took him out. Not letting it phase him. Coming into the Red Bull Super Kicker here with a cash roll. That is such an insane jump to see that trick on. Just coming up a little bit short.
Well, Diego definitely one of the riders who's a master of the art of crashing. You saw him never even let go of the handlebars on that crash, nursing that hurt thumb. The fact that he was even able to attempt the cash roll on that jump, which sends you so incredibly high in the air, it's so impressive.
You gotta respect this guy's resilience to get in that start gate, ride through the pain. He just kind of felt it out in run number one, but that time he was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to see if I can make this happen, letting it all hang out. Unfortunate mistake on that second to last feature.
Well, he's got 7 months to heal those wounds, but only one opportunity to go for it in front of this Red Bull Joyride crowd. So he'll be able to sleep smoothly tonight, knowing that he did everything within his power, even through adversity. Diego will go with his first run score, but let's take a look at that Triple Crown of Slopestyle trophy right there, a trophy that has never been won since it was first offered up in 2015. Nicolai Roy Gaskin, the only man with an opportunity to win that because he won the 2 European stops earlier in the season. But if anybody has what it takes to stomp out Nicolai Roy Gaskin's dreams, is this man right here, a man who has been in contention for that Triple Crown in past seasons, having a huge crash on the final feature in his first run, but somehow at the start of this course ready to drop in for his second run.
We're seeing another rider battle through the pain right now. Such a treat to see Brett Reeder back in the gate. Will he start out with this half cab again? Something we're only going to see him do today. Wow, landing it perfect, making it look so easy. It's such a technical move.
Ooh, yes.
Backflip, opposite tail up. He's on pace right now. This could really shake things up. Cork 720, getting the bar spin in this time. So he's stepping things up, opting for the backflip single tail up there. Still on pace. This could really, really change Nicolai Roy Gaskin's day. The opposite, Cork 720 up. Truck driver down, such huge moves back to back. Front flip bar spin, a tuck no hander, stepping it up there from his first run. This is where it all went wrong in run number one. Coming into this last kokanee drop, bar spin up, getting all the speed he can for that backflip tailwhip. Perfect to pedals.
Brett Reeder stomps the flat drop backflip tail whip getting redemption from his first run, and even Nicolai Roy Gaskin respecting the level of riding from Brett Reeder.
So impressive. He took such a hard hit. I can't believe that he made everything work in that run. And then you got to know, he was sweating it coming into that flat backflip tail whip. I didn't know if he had the rotation, but it couldn't have been any more perfect.
Well, Brett Reeder pushing through the pain, getting back to the top of the course. Really excited to hear what he has to say at the bottom of this run, Michaela.
How good are you feeling right now?
I feel relieved. I feel relieved that I landed that. That first one hurt, and oh man, I did it. I did it.
Listen to the crowd. So much emotion from Brett Reeder right there. All those tricks he did, no wonder he can't even breathe right now. Let's take a look back, Tyler.
I don't even know where to start with replays on this run. Everything was textbook. This right here, the backflip opposite tail whip. A backflip tail whip on that feature would be insane, but he's doing it in his unnatural direction, linking it into this cork 720, which we saw him do in run number 1. In run number 2, right there, squeaking a bar spin in, having to get his knees out of the way of the handlebars, and then catching the bars, pulling his bars into his lap to get the rest of the rotation. Such an insane move on the first jump of 2 right there. Opposite cork 720. I don't think we've ever seen that into a whale tail. This right here, front flip bar spin. We saw him do that in run number 1. That time, taking his hands off after the bar spin. Triple combo, front flip bar spin, tuck no-hander. Right here, this is where it all went wrong. Seeing things in slow motion right now, yanking back, initiating that rotation on his own without a takeoff, kicking that tail whip and putting it down perfect to pedals.
Did you see him grab those pedals and then just whip his upper body to finish that rotation? Is it going to be enough to move Nicolai Roy Gaskin out of the lead? The score coming in, a 94.5. Whoa, we have a show on our hands here. Brett Reeder takes the lead, putting the pressure on Nicolai Roy Gaskin for the Triple Crown.
Look at that Triple Crown award sitting in the background, taunting all the riders. Taunting Brett, can he take it away from Nicolai? Taunting Nicolai, can he take it?
Okay, you cannot script this. Brett Reeder crashes Nicolai Roy Gaskin sitting in the lead. He gets back up to the top of the course, stomps his run, knocks Nicolai Roy Gaskin out of the lead by almost 2 points. Nicolai Roy Gaskin respecting the level of riding that Brett Reeder just showcased, but knowing his future is in his own hands.
All right.
Well, let's try to compose ourselves and focus our attention back to the top of the course. Ryan Nyquist, the legend from BMX, now the legend from mountain biking, a 3rd place to his name at Joyride last year. This could potentially be his last Joyride with BMX going into the Olympics, but right now we're gonna savor this run.
Never a guy to count out. That right there, 360 bar spin, a bar spin back. Whoa. His unique move right there, grabbing the center of the stem while doing a 360 and throwing his other hand back off. Backflip, suicide no-hander to bar spin. Like I said, he's got to hit his front brake on that, going fast.
Whoa! Oh!
720 bar spin, just coming up a little bit short. He wanted to go for all right there, Cam.
Well, Ryan Nyquist knows that he has to stomp that 720 bar spin. That's the biggest trick in his bag, and he always backs it up by such unique combos on the rest of the course. But you know he needed that trick to be able to hop onto the podium. Now he landed a little less than perfect on the jump before that. He was pedaling all the way into the lip, so I think he was just lacking speed there to squeeze out that full trick.
I have a feeling he might put on a show for the fans in the rest of his run here. He said he doesn't want to think about how this may or may not be his last Red Bull Joyride. He just wants to savor Crankworx, enjoy it while he can. He loves the crowd out here. He feeds off it every time he gets on the start gate. And it looks like he might put on a show for us and complete his 2nd run.
Well, man, it's been so amazing having him here the last few seasons, and BMX in the Olympics is a big deal, so we all understand why he's going to focus his attention on that. But he was saying, you know, well, after Olympics, I'll be like 41, 42. Am I going to go back to the gold events and try to get some points to get back on to the Crankworx World Tour? Only time will tell. But only one thing is for sure. Having him here while we have...
Wow.
Oh, man!
He was going,
geez, I wasn't expecting that.
For a 720 double bar spin right there. I don't think we've ever seen him do that in competition, but he wanted to put on a show. Like I said, That was probably not even the jump that he would originally have wanted to do that on, but he wasn't going to hike back up, go to a different jump. He wanted to do it on his way down the course, put on a show for the fans.
How about this? The next thing on his schedule is to try to qualify for the BMX Olympics. You kind of need to be healthy for that. He doesn't even care. He's like, this crowd is one of the best in the business, and he was willing to try to do a trick that he's never landed in a competition before on a mountain bike. And, well, we all appreciate it, Ryan Nyquist. Well, as Ryan Nyquist pays his goodbyes potentially to the mountain bike world, we take a look at our current standings, Tyler.
Brett Reeder shaking things up. We're calling him the Dream Crusher right now. Rogatkin may have thought he had that Triple Crown wrapped up for the first time in history, but Reeder crushing dreams and taking it away from him potentially, but Nicolai has another chance. We're going to get a look at Reeder's run.
Well, Brett Reeder starting things off in run number 2 just as he started run number 1 off with, and then this was a big one.
Backflip opposite tail up on the SRAM cannon. Such a big move right there.
It's complemented by his final trick.
Everything complements something here. That Cork 720 bar spin, you're going to see where that comes back into play on this next feature right here. The opposite Cork 720. This guy, if you see him do an opposite maneuver, you're going to see a regular maneuver somewhere down the course. Can do everything equally both ways, which is such an insane skill to have. Something a judges reward. Huge front flip bar spin and tuck no-hander right there on the biggest jump on the course.
So much time to set up for this. What's going through his head?
Oh, he's just thinking, don't mess it up again.
Oh, jeez. That was flawless.
He couldn't have done that any more perfect.
Well, such great air awareness, but also just the fast twitch muscle response, catching those pedals and then just violently whipping his body into place to land square and perfect with that landing. Nicolai Roy Gaskin, big smile on his face, even though Brett Reeder basically just gave him a whole more busy work day.
Already?
Well, take a look at this. The German rider, Lukas Knopf, clawing his way back onto the Crankworx World Tour. We had him as an alternate in Rotorua, but right now his first Red Bull Joyride. What does he have for us?
Coming into the start, flat drop with the truck driver. Huge front flip on the SRAM cannon.
Smooth landing.
Big moves for Lukas so far in this run, wanting to up his score. Another front flip on the first jump of the Red Bull 4-pack. Massive extension on that 360 tuck no-hander right there. Putting this run down really smooth. Wanting to earn his spot on tour full-time next year. Tail up into the Red Bull cabin. Truck driver down. Now this jump right here, we've seen some crazy combinations on today. Lukas opting for the double tail up, perfect to pedals. This run is going really smooth for him right now. Coming onto the Kokanee drop with a double bar spin on, risky move, truck driver down. Putting that down perfect to pedals, improving from his first run.
Lukas Knopf adding to what he had in his first of 2 runs. Will the judges reward him? So much at stake out here, not just gold, silver, and bronze medals, but valuable points to secure a position onto the 2019 tour. I mean, there's only 14 riders, so you've got to know that these guys have to be flawless in order to get those points. But the extension in that run was definitely a highlight. Let's take a look back here. The 360, all right, stop the tape. Look at this. Making a perfect Y right here, like a bird spreading his wings. Let's put some feathers on that thing right there. Beautiful extension, roll it. Let's watch how smooth he landed this 360 tuck no-hander. Lukas Knopf definitely doing what he needs to do to make it to that first stop of the 2019 season. Great to see the consistency out of this German rider.
Going for a double bar spin onto the final Kokanee drop there. There were 3 bar spins in just those last 2 features right there.
Well, Lukas Knopf making the fans happy, signing some autographs. Where will he land in our leaderboard?
throwing a lot of technicality into that run number 2.
Lucas Knopf sitting top 10 so far right now, a score of 62.25. Great effort for him out here. Looking forward to seeing him in the 2019 season. But take a look back at the top. Tomas Lemoine in the hunt for the King of Crankworx. He needs a second place or higher to knock Sam Blankensop from the downhill world out of that top spot in the King of Crankworx standings.
This is his last opportunity to earn some valuable points right here to win that King of Crankworx. Starting out with a double truck driver. He said he's feeling pretty sore from a crash he had yesterday. Backflip bar spin on the SRAM cannon. He's improving from run number 1. Yes. Oh, there's another improvement. 360 inward table to bar spin. Backflip double tail whip.
Rolling out again.
The beauty of this course is features are spaced out, so you can see riders make a bobble like that, but keep going. Backflip double bar spin, landing a little bit low.
Wow. Oh, that was really fast paced.
Somehow still managing to get the 360 tail whip out. Backflip tuck no hander on the Red Bull step up. Coming into the last feature now. This is his last chance for Red Bull Joyride 2018.
No way. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. Just took all the wind out of my sails right there, thinking he was going to try to manual all the way off the end of that. And if you're a rider like Tomas Lemoine and you have as much bike control as he does, that's something that's within the realm of possibility, but is something with really high consequences.
So I think he missed a couple of the tricks he was looking for right there. He must have assumed he wasn't going to be able to get into the position he was hoping for today. And he just prayed his way down the rest of the course. But his run started out so great, so much style in that 360 inward table, putting his foot back on into that bar spin. So many things going on in that trick right there. Such Tomas Lemoine style.
Well, crazy week for Tomas Lemoine. So many events for him. Sitting in 9th place right now. Not going to take the King of Crankworx overall title. He needed a 2nd place to be able to get those 90 points. But wow, what a great effort for him out here, especially considering he had a crash yesterday. And just a hint at what may be on the horizon for slopestyle, thinking he was trying to manual that on-off box. That would have been something we've never seen before. But something we've never seen before was when Matt Jones in his first run stomped an A run. You know, explain to me a B run and an A run, Tyler.
Well, he let it all hang out in run number 1. Sometimes you got to take it easy in run number 1 just to get a score down. But I think he has more in the bag. He always does. He has such a huge trick list, one of the most creative riders we've seen on tour. Starting out with a backflip, similar to run number 1. We're going to see if he's going to switch it up at all. Backflip tuck no hander on the SRAM cannon. So right now things are identical to his first run. We saw a big double backflip there in his first run, landing smooth.
Oh, slips a pedal.
Shoot, he was trying to get speed for something huge on that next jump. 360 table into the Red Bull cabin. He's going to play his way down the rest of this course, still throwing huge moves that he makes look so easy.
Well, hopefully we get to see that backflip Superman. Yes, even bigger than his first run.
This guy makes everything look too easy.
So with run 1 being the best run we've ever seen Matt Jones throw down at a Crankworx slopestyle event, a slight bobble in run number 2 means he'll be taking his first run score. But wow, just trying to link that double backflip to that 720 again and not having the speed. We've seen a lot of riders having to pedal in between those 2 jumps.
We heard Matt talking about his bike setup. He likes to run small pedals. Could that have screwed him up right there? We'll never know.
Well, great showing for Matt Jones out there. Take a look at our current leaderboard, Tyler.
Brett Reeder sitting right where he's wanted to sit all season in the first spot. Nicolai Roy Gaskin 2nd. He has another chance to shake things up and win that Triple Crown. Our tour rookie, Eric Fedko, last year's world champion, 4th place. Tomas Lemoine sitting in that top 5. A good position for him so far, but he's going to want to be stepping that up in run number 2.
And here's a guy who showed up knowing that he was on the alternate list. And I believe he was definitely not thinking he was going to ride the contest, because I caught up with him while we were hanging out during practice.
Ready
he
to
said
go?
he doesn't really know how to practice, how much to throw, because you don't want to hurt yourself for a contest you're not even going to be riding. But he found himself on the start list, and he had a really smooth first run, didn't he?
He did, and every time these guys drop in on this course, whether it be practice, whether it be a finals run, they're risking it. They're laying it on the line. So it's hard for him to find that balance, but luckily he practiced some big tricks, and he was ready for his run as soon as he got called to battle. Backflip tuck no hander. I think that's a combo we didn't see him do in run number 1, so he's stepping things up, trying to earn that spot on the 2019 World Tour.
Can he link these two 720s again?
Perfect 720.
Yes!
Into a front fork 720. No pedals in between there, showing great flow. The judge is taking note of that. Backflip bar spin in, 360 tuck no hander out. This run is going great for Jakob Wenzel right now. Switching his stance.
Oh man, holds on to it somehow.
Slipping pedals on that double tail up, but he's able to maintain speed in this final feature. Bar spin on and a backflip off. Putting it down. He had some improvements. He had a couple little mistakes, but I don't know. That could bump him up in the standings. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, what a run for Jakob Wenzel. I loved how he linked those two 720s, both on separate axes. Conventional on the first jump, going over the back shoulder, and then spinning over the front. He calls that the Misty 7. A lot of riders have different terminology for that trick. But let's take a look at that 4-pack right now. Flawless execution of these two tricks.
So this 720 right here, he's coming back over his leading shoulder. Now that's a normal axis 720, something we've been seeing on tour for a few years now. So still a huge move. And then he's gonna change it up into this next one.
So for a rider who spins left, he's dropping his left shoulder on that first 720. Now take a look at which shoulder he drops here.
So coming off the front fork axis.
He actually spins to the right, sorry. So he's dropping that front shoulder, which is the left shoulder, isn't it?
It gets confusing. These guys spin so much. But putting it down, it's just impressive to see that he can do those two rotations on completely different axes.
So the story right now, can Jakob Wenzel jeopardize Tomas Lemoine's placing? Well, he moves into 6th place right now, a 72, his top score. Where does that put him in the overall leaderboard right now? Lemoine still sitting in 5th right there. He's at the top of the course and not too cozy with that 5th place, because we mentioned before he needs a 6th place or higher. So with more riders to go right now, the pressure on Tomas Lemoine to do all he can to improve that score and give himself a little cushion for the 2019 season.
So I'm pretty sure he's guaranteed a 5th place at this point. So if my math's correct, we may be seeing Tomas Lemoine, one of our favorite riders, on tour next year. So now he's got his sights set to get the best result he can at this one-stop Red Bull Joyride.
Tomas Lemoine's looking for a podium now.
Truck driver to tail up, so smooth. That is such a technical move. That was an opposite 360 downside tail up. I believe we saw him do that the other way in run number 1. So ramping things up, judges will take note of that.
Oh, that's why.
There you go, that's why. I was wondering why he did it that way.
Oh,
that was a regular 360 opposite downside tail up out of the cabin. Stepping it up huge in run number 2. Backflip bar spin and tuck no hander. One last move. Double tail up on again. Perfect to pedals. 360 table.
Tomas Lemoine taking a flawless run 1 and adding even more technicality and precision in run number 2.
That was impressive. I was wondering why we saw him do that trick the other way, and we shortly found out why.
Well, that was a good job identifying that opposite 360 downside tail. It really foreshadowed what we see later. And this guy having what it takes to win this competition. He did it in 2012. He now has his own training facility, and it's really showing.
Starting out with a 360 tuck no-hander into an opposite 360 tuck no-hander. This right here, pulling it again in run number 2, just like he did in run number 1. 360 bar spin to late topside tail whip. Perfect to pedals. Look at him getting those on, landing right at the top. And this right here, something you rarely ever, if not ever, see off of a step down. A 360 downside tail whip.
I can't recall seeing that. The judges are going to love it, especially how he's complementing tricks all the way down. And look at the style on that flat drop 360 tabletop.
I got to believe this might shake things up. He's the last guy from Europe that we've seen win a Crankworx. Brett's looking a little nervous there, but happy to see his friend put down run number 2. Riding to the potential we know he has. The score coming in at 81.5.
So an 81.5, I believe Janon was sitting in 5th place beforehand, and now he's still sitting in 5th place. Not able to move up the leaderboard, but definitely able to put down a stronger score than before. But wow, is the stage ever set. Brett Reeder hanging out in the lead, putting the pressure on Nicolai Roy Gaskin, the only man who could potentially win the Triple Crown of Slopestyle for the first time ever. Nicolai Roy Gaskin will be the last to drop, so don't you even think about going away. This is Red Bull Joyride. We got a whole lot more action still to come. So this is the classic event, Crankworx Whistler, the way we finish off the Crankworx World Tour every year. But take a look at how we start the World Tour every year and how we will be starting the 2019 Crankworx World Tour, Rotorua, New Zealand.
Double. Thanks, mate. Crankworx Rotorua, March 18th to the 24th, 2019. For tickets and information, go to crankworx.com.
But it's all about Whistler right now, and take a look at your current leaderboard.
Brett Reeder, the Dream Crusher, sitting in that first spot. Nicolai Roy Gaskin having a second chance to shake things up, win that Triple Crown. Eric Fedko, Series Rookie. Emilio Hansen, 2017, FMB World Champion. So we're gonna see him in the start gate again. Such a cool story. We haven't seen this kid able to compete in the last 12 months. He earned his Red Bull helmet here last year, proving that he was such a force to be reckoned with. And then he was plagued with injury. He has new sponsors this year. He's been wanting to show them what he can do.
Yep.
And we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know if he was gonna be back in top form or if he'd be rusty, and he was not rusty in run number 1.
It's true. We didn't know until about 30 minutes before the broadcast started that Emilio Hansen had decided to ride. He'd been riding practice all week. And here's another treat for slopestyle fans. Emilio Hansen dropping in for his second run.
He said he wasn't sure if he'd ever be able to ride again. Now he's sitting in 4th place. You know his confidence is back, and he's going to go for it on this run number 2. Opposite double tail up on the cannon there. Such a huge move. Cork 720 on the first jump of 2 in a row right here. No pedals, perfectly smooth. 360s double bar spin to downside tail up. I'm laughing because he makes it look so easy, but it's so technical. Indian Air up into the Red Bull cabin. 360 tail whip out. Looking like he hasn't lost a step in the last 12 months. Backflip tail whip to late bar spin.
So late.
Wow, coming into the last feature right here. Backflip bar spin on. I believe that's an improvement from run number 1. 360 there, hanging a foot, possibly looking for a combo, but another insane run from last year's world champion.
This kid is just unshakable. That's the type of precision you see from somebody who's been riding all year long. These riders, they're so dedicated to this sport. They do not spend any waking moment not either riding their bike or thinking about riding their bike. Here we go. Emile's Trek teammate there. The guy sitting in the lead, Brett Reeder, congratulating him on his return to competition in 2 stomped runs.
So happy to see that guy riding again. We have missed him on tour. He was so impressive all year last year, and it's just so good to see him back. This right here, 360, bar spin to opposite downside tail up. Quad combo, 2 bar spins, opposite tail up. So many things in there, a trick that we never thought we would see.
We're watching in slow motion, but it's as if he sees real life in slow motion, how he's able to pack so much into each feature.
It couldn't have been any more perfect. 360 tail up. How does he have the confidence to do that with how little of riding he's been able to have in the last 12 months? We will never know. So good to see this kid back, and I hope we will see him around for a long, long time.
Well, because Brett Reeder stomped his run and went into the lead, Emilio Hansen will need an 88.25 to move back onto the podium. He was hanging out in podium contention for a large portion of the day today. Will this run put him back into the top 3?
It was another huge run for the young Swede. Judges deliberating, working hard, seeing if it had what it took to move him into the top 3.
Emilio Hansen, an 86.75 in his second run, still hanging out in 4th place. That's gotta feel good for him, but it also has to feel amazing for this next rider, securing a Joyride podium. And look at that, he knows, somebody gave him the word right there, what Emile's score was. Eric Fedko getting high five congratulations from Nicolai Roy Gaskin, who has a big job to do, but right now, Eric Fedko an opportunity to style it out for the crowd. Looks like he's happy with his 3rd place finish, landing his dream run. I couldn't imagine him even trying to pack anything more into that run.
No, he crammed so much in there. He got 2 podiums in his first ever season on tour. This kid is also a kid we're gonna see on tour for a long time, getting better at every stop. He's just enjoying this moment. 3rd place, Red Bull Joyride. Last year he wasn't even on the rider list. We didn't even know about him 12 months ago.
A 3rd place at the last 2 stops on the Crankworx World Tour. So consistency at play. It's going to be really exciting to see him at the first stop of the 2019 season down in New Zealand, because you got to know he's going to be there. So take a look right now at the current leader, the guy sitting at the top of those standings, Brett Reeder, crashing in his first run, getting redemption in his second run, and putting all the pressure on Nicolai Roy Gaskin. Nicolai Roy Gaskin prepares in the start gate. So much at play right here. The Crankworx FMBA Slopestyle World Championship, the Triple Crown of Slopestyle. And if you missed the leading run right now from Brett Reeder, take a look at this screen. This is that Quark 720 bar spin, his natural direction.
So good to see Reeder and Nicolai battling it out in the finals here. They have such different styles. Brett going with the technicality of opposites, regulars, linking everything back to back. Nicolai just going for the straight bangers, but that right there, the backflip tail up off the flat drop in the finish, something we never thought we would see.
You know, something funny is you're watching these 2 riders being influenced by each other also. Brett Reeder doing that front flip bar spin to tuck no hander, a trick you would normally see Nicolai Roy Gaskin do. Nicolai doing things like Quark 720s on step downs to start his first run. Here it comes, Tyler, Nicolai Roy Gaskin's final run.
The final rider of the final stop of the 2018 season, the only person who can secure the Triple Crown of Crankworx. Looking smooth so far. What else is he gonna possibly cram into this run? I can't imagine. Coming into the first jump. Front cork 1080, perfect to pedals, double backflip.
Whoa,
so far, this run looking even cleaner than run number 1. Getting that double backflip. Backflip tuck no-hander, that was a straight backflip in run number 1. Front flip tuck no-hander, that was a straight front flip in run number 1. He is cranking everything up here in run number 2. 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Triple tail whip. Coming into the last feature, his last chance to secure the triple crown of Crankworx. Backflip bar spin in. Another improvement. Double tail whip.
He gets it!
Perfect.
Nicolai Roy Gaskin stomping his run and improving on his first run, putting all the pressure on the judges.
Oh man, look at him go. He's been having the season of his life.
Wow, look at the sportsmanship here. Brett Reeder respecting the game of Nicolai Roy Gaskin.
So I counted 3 things that he improved on over run number 1 right there.
Michaela, it's time to interrupt this dude stew party right now. Wow. Get into Nicolai Roy Gaskin's face. Let's hear it.
How did that feel?
That was absolutely unreal. Being the last guy to drop. I just wanted to put on a show for these people. The last thing I wanted to do was crash, and yeah, I made it down here, so damn, I'm stoked.
That was an absolutely amazing run. Let's just see what the judges have to say.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Michaela. That is the big question right now. All the pressure on Nicolai Roy Gaskin about 2 minutes ago. Now all the pressure on the judges.
They do not have an easy job. How did he have more in the tank? He's crammed so much in run number 1. Sticking with that front cork 1080 there. He calls it the twister. Unfathomable how he could possibly have that on such lock, getting it perfect. We saw him doing it in practice even.
Watch him take some pedals here. I wasn't sure if he was going to have enough speed for this double backflip.
He cleaned that double flip up with a little bit more amplitude, making it look a little bit more fluid than run number 1, putting it down perfect to pedals. And then we saw him just adding bar spins, adding tuck no-handers in places where there were straight tricks before. Right there, backflip, tuck no-hander. That was a straight backflip run number 1. Front flip, tuck no-hander. He knows he's got to get over 2 points to beat Brett Reeder with a 94.25. Nicolai sitting in the 92s. So cranking things up, adding more combos, and still sticking with that double tail up off the final kokanee drop.
Oh, wow. We're receiving word that the scores are in. Will we have a triple crown or will we have a 2-time Joyride winner? What will the story be? Where will this score land? Nicolai Roy Gaskin goes into the lead and wins the competition and the triple crown of slopestyle.
His first time winning Red Bull Joyride, winning all 3 things, the whole tour, the triple crown.
Oh, man, you have got to be kidding me. Oh, we said it earlier, you can't script this, but now with the fairy tale ending, celebrating with a nice, cool kokanee. Michaela, let's hear some more from Nicolai Roy Gaskin.
You just made history as the first man to ever win 3 slopestyles in a row, the Triple Crown of Slopestyle. What do you have to say for yourself?
Oh, I honestly can't believe it. I just want to thank all my boys here for just believing in me and, you know, telling me all this week that I could do this and that it was possible. And I believed in that myself and made the run happen. So, it's probably the best moment of my life right now.
Woo!
Yes, oh man, Nicolai Roy Gaskin, you made everybody here so happy. It's insane how much pressure was on this guy's shoulders, and he was able to rise above it all and stomp the run of his life. So many elements of this day today are just groundbreaking. The return of Emilio Hansen, Nicolai Roy Gaskin making history by snagging that triple crown of slopestyle, and Darren Kinnaird so excited, the general manager of Crankworx. It was his idea to put this up for grabs, and 4 years later, Nicolai Roy Gaskin has done it. Oh man, we're still catching our breath here, but let's try to digest this leaderboard.
So our final results, Nicolai obviously in that top spot. Brett Reeder letting it all hang out, just not able to squeak it past Nicolai today. Eric Fedko, 2nd podium of the year. Tour rookie, last year's world champion, 4th place. Tomas Lemoine securing a spot on the 2019 World Tour. Jakob Wenzel getting some delicate points to keep him on tour, and Torquato, who earned himself a spot back on tour, getting 7th place at 2018 Red Bull Joyride.
Oh, it's amazing to see so many stomped runs out here. Brett Reeder may have not won the battle here today in Red Bull Joyride, but he won the war of the Crankworx FMBA Slopestyle World Championship. Michaela, let's catch up with him.
All right, Brett, so a little bit bittersweet today. I know you wanted to go for the win, but you are still the Crankworx FMBA Slopestyle World Champion. How does that feel?
Yeah, it feels great. Yeah, you're right. It is bittersweet. I tried to go out and win, and I made a couple mistakes. It didn't let me do the run I needed to, and down here in second place. Congrats to Nicolai. The Triple Crown's a dicey thing to try to tackle, and he did it. So congrats to him.
Well, I think you made an amazing recovery today, absolutely stomping that second round. So congratulations again on the championship title.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, Michaela. I'm sure after the dust is settled here and the smoke is cleared from the Red Bull Joyride course, Brett Reeder will have a time to gain some perspective, because he is, at the end of the day, a world champion in this discipline based on his consistency all season long. But take a look. It was only a handful of points that he did it by.
Only getting it by, how's my math, 44 points. Pretty darn close. Such an achievement in itself to win that overall, but you know he's going to come back even more hungry next year. But right now, look at this guy.
Well, the Triple Crown trophy finally gets to leave Darren Kinnairds' garage. And I've seen where Nicolai Roy Gaskin holds all of his trophies. I don't know where he's going to find room for that. He's going to have to get a bigger trophy room. But it is going to be a huge night in Whistler, British Columbia today, as Vladimir Rogakin celebrates with his son, accomplishing the unthinkable. Wow, well, without a doubt, the best Red Bull Joyride we've ever seen. We're going to be talking about this one for years and years. For all of us here in the booth, I'm Cam McCall alongside my brother Tyler McCall and Michaela Gatto. Stick around for the post-show if you're online, but thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next year in Rotorua, New Zealand. Wow. I mean, it's not necessarily an incredibly hot day, but we're sweating because of what we just saw.
That was a fun one to call, man. This is my first time doing this all year. First time watching it from the booth. I think that was the best contest we have ever seen. The rivalry between Reeder and Nicolai all season, ending with Nicolai winning the Triple Crown. Couldn't have been scripted, as you said, and that was an insane show.
We could talk about the ideal circumstances, what we hope to see, and what would be the workings, the ingredients for something we'll talk about for years to come. But the odds of it actually happening, so slim.
Winning 3 of 4 stops. Just winning 1 is a huge achievement. Nicolai winning all 3, insane achievement.
I think one thing's for sure, the crowd here on site is very happy, but it's always hard to please everybody. So we have a little motto we go by, and we say, don't read the comments, because you just might see something you don't like. Well, our colleagues at Boombox Productions decided to sift through those comments. Let's see what they have for us right here. Which one are we reading, guys? All right. Mac Ripper says, worst judging ever. All right, Tyler, I'm going to put you on the spot and ask, do you agree with Mac Ripper or not?
People on Pink Bike will always have something to say. I think our top results were judged perfectly. I got to wonder about Godziak as well. We didn't see him take his run number 1. Maybe he's frustrated with his score. I thought he laid down a pretty solid run right there, and his score is pretty low. So did he get deterred from that? I'm not sure. Maybe Mac Ryder knows a little bit more than we do.
I know you had mentioned at the beginning of the show, if you miss the action, you got to log in and watch the replay. I know I for sure am going to be doing that, because it takes a little while to digest the results here. That's definitely something I'm going to be thinking about. Simon Godziak and Matt Jones definitely not getting the scores at the time of their run that I thought they deserved, but maybe they all fell into place in appropriate positions. That just means we're going to be talking about Joyride for a few more days as we watch the replays and really talk about the scenarios. But one thing's for sure, sport aside, entertainment value at an all-time high. So, Tyler, last stop in Leger, this little kid from Germany, Eric Fedko, we knew he was consistent because we were watching him all week in practice. And he called out that he had what it took to get a podium, and then he backed that up by getting a 3rd place. He does it again here. What do you think the future holds for this kid?
I think he's going to be around for a long time. We saw him at stop number 1 in Rotorua. Didn't know what to expect. I didn't know much about him, and I just watched him in practice, and I was thinking this kid definitely has what it takes. Getting better at every stop. 3rd place in Leger really got his confidence up to where it deserved to be, and here he is in Red Bull Joyride, his first time ever in this competition, securing 3rd place.
Two guys who I'm pretty sure see life in slow motion are Emilio Hansen and this kid right here, Eric Fedko. We have the luxury of being able to watch his replays in slow motion, but take a look at his extension on this 360 Superman seat grab Indian Air. We'd be content with horizontal, but he goes vert.
He's got a lot of variety in his runs, Cam. He does a lot of bar spin combos, tail whip combos, flips, 360s, and that one right there, just a unique maneuver, the 360 seat grab Indian Air.
Rocking the pink t-shirt, earning the nickname the Terminator. You never see the Terminator roll into a situation wavering in his confidence.
No, this kid, I keep saying it, but for a rookie, I've just never seen someone with that much confidence, even after years on tour.
He's got like a swagger. He's just cruising around. He's got this smug look on his face.
He just knows exactly what he's capable of. He knows where he stands against the other riders, and he proved again that he deserves to be on the podium, whether it be 3rd place. Next year, maybe we'll see him in the top spot. We'll have to wait and see.
On top of all that, go figure, he's a good kid too. He seems like a really nice kid. He rented a downhill bike to go compete in the whip-off earlier on in the week. He looked like he was having a blast, so a whole lot more to come from him. But let's talk about the guy who got 2nd place, landing the run of his life here, Brett Reeder.
2nd place is not a place he likes to stand, but he is our 2018 world champion. Tricks like that, the cork 720 bar spin, backflip opposite tail up on the cannon to a backflip regular tail up on that jump there, front flip bar spin and tuck no hander. His runs are not easy to call because he squeezes so much in, ending with a backflip tail up off that flat drop right there.
Well, the craziest thing is when you think about the fact that he probably had more in the tank that he was trying to do. I really respect his ability in that run to maybe miss something, but just stay focused and go for it, because he only had one more attempt left.
And you got to remember his crash in run number 1. That couldn't have felt good. He slid on his head and shoulder all the way down that landing of the last feature, the kokanee drop, and was able to gather himself, maintain composure, get in the gate, and stomp down a 2nd place run.
So we learned something today. Slope-style mountain bikes, not for whiny babies.
No, these guys are tough, man.
Tough guys out there. Well, let's take a look at our award ceremony right now. We just broke down the 3rd and 2nd place, so it's time to give out a bronze medal to that youngster out there with the unshakable confidence, Eric Fedko.
So well deserved. This kid seems like he came out of nowhere, but he was working his way up the ranks at all the European stops last season, earning his spot on tour, now standing on his 2nd podium of the 2018 season at the Super Bowl of Slopestyle Mountain Biking, Red Bull Joyride.
When we talk about how full Nicolai Roy Gaskin's trophy room is, now this kid at the beginning of his career, he's got his first Crankworx Joyride medal, and maybe not his last if he keeps up at this pace.
Brett Reeder, 2nd place, not where he wanted to be standing, but still such a huge achievement. 2nd place at Red Bull Joyride.
We talk about how good his riding is today, but we got to mention his sportsmanship. First, to congratulate Nicolai Roy Gaskin at the bottom of his winning run.
He didn't want to give it away to this guy right here. He made him work for it. Nicolai Roy Gaskin showing how much of a competitor he is. He always has more in the tank, able to steal the elusive Triple Crown.
Well, there's your top 3, and we're going to be joined in the booth here shortly by one of the gentlemen who had the very difficult task of ranking all these 14 riders here today. We're getting him cozied up in the booth right now. Of course, I'm talking about Grant Chopper Fielder. If you've been around slopestyle mountain biking and freeride since the beginning, you'll remember this guy. You saw some tail whips off drops today. He was one of the first guys to do that, not only in slopestyle competitions, but out in the big natural terrain. Chop, no easy task for you guys out there today. How in the world did you keep your head on straight and rank these fellas?
Dude, we've had a few interviews, asking exactly the same question, and I think the main thing is the most important thing is that we judge everyone fairly. So we see every single rider as just a silhouette, and today showed that there's no bias in what we do. I think we're here for a reason, and I believe we've done a great job. And I'm just still buzzing from Nicolai's run. It's unreal, absolutely unreal.
It was so cool, man.
So good.
I mean, that's really important what you mentioned. You judge every rider as a silhouette. Basically, not what they're capable of, not what you saw them do in practice, but what they did on the day and the merit of that run in its own right, with all things taken out of consideration. Is that what you mean by that?
Yeah, totally. I mean, like, today's riding is, you know, the progression of our sport has got to an all-time high now, and it's just like, who's going to perform best on the day? Because really anybody could take the win with the bangers they've got in their bags. And, you know, writing all their trick lists down is just, it just looks like hieroglyphics now.
I know.
Oh, it's unreal, man.
We all competed together on this course, on numerous other courses around the world. And if you were, at those times, to be handed a trick list, would you think that somebody was completely lying, or that they were full-on Confuciusing
I mean,
you?
We were talking about something earlier about Greg Watts winning, and I was like, I just don't think you can be any better than that. But every year it gets better and better and better, and like next year's going to be 10 times better. It's like, wow, when does it end?
Well, we know where the level is right now in 2018, Nicolai Roy Gaskin's winning run. Let's take a look back at it. I want to get your opinion on what you guys were talking about during all these hits.
Yeah.
So walk me through this, Chop.
So Nicolai started with a cork 7 drop. Wow, I think that was the first jump after the boner with a twister, double flip there. I mean, banger after banger.
This was how he upped his score, though, right?
This was where he had to add those extra moves, because this was the only thing separating him from Reader. This was repeating from his first run, still a banger run. We thought like the whale tail was good enough, but he added that flip bar in, and that's the way that's where it separated the riders. And look at that guy.
And not only did he do 3 things in his second run that were better than his first run, he had to stomp all the other stuff from his first run. Let's not forget about that.
Thing, like you know, cork 7 drop, straight into twisters, 3 whips off boner logs. Every single one of those were absolute bangers, and we were like, the only way you can improve is just by adding a bar spin to his flip into the whale tail, but he managed to do a flip no hand and a fronty no hand out, and then with that extra flip bar up to double whip off was just, you've got it, dude. It was
so
the best
insane
thing.
in the best way possible. So Nicolai Roy Gaskin, with that run, wins Red Bull Joyride 2018, secures the Triple Crown of Slopestyle because he won Innsbruck, he won Ligier, he won Whistler. But the entire season was so close. All the points racked up. It was a battle between Brett Reeder and Nicolai Roy Gaskin. But today, Brett Reeder took home the Crankworx FMBA Slopestyle World Championship overall.
Right, wow.
Now this is the first year after the new restructuring where the elite level of this form of competition takes place only at the Crankworx stops. What do you think about that format? It's pretty cool. It really brings the highlight on these top tier events, doesn't it?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, look at Fedko, for instance. He was just like a wee lad, you know. And now he's like podium regularly at events now, and like this guy is like the future of our sport as well. But like Reeder and Roy Gaskin are on a separate level, and having the Slopestyle World Championships is probably the coolest thing to happen to Slopestyle itself. And Reeder deserves it too. Like technically so advanced. Unreal rider. I'm just still stoked about the whole day, man.
So this is pretty hilarious here. We had our podium from the event. Now look at our Crankworx FMBA Slopestyle World Championship overall podium. We got some familiar faces. It's the same crew.
Honestly, like all those guys deserve it. I mean, I was watching Fedko riding earlier in practice, and the guy's having fun, and that's what, like, especially a young guy. There's so much pressure on his shoulders, but yet he doesn't even show it. He's standing on the Slopestyle World Championships podium, and he's like, how old is he? He's like 18?
20, I think.
20 now?
He's 20, yeah.
He's like, that's incredible for our sport, and Roy Gaskin himself and Reeder have just killed it once again, so what a result.
I think the trick to success out here is just enjoying the whole festival. I mean, things like Fedko renting a downhill bike, going up there for the whip off. He didn't have to do that. He can be hanging out at the pool, or just sit down with a piece of paper and a pen, strategizing scenarios. But it's all about mountain biking out here, even though the current level of slopestyle is so far removed to what all of you at home do for fun. I know you can all appreciate it, and it's kind of cool for the viewers to know that these guys love to get out on the trails as well.
Oh, dude, like this is the ultimate spot for it, you know, like every time I come out here, whether I'm hungover, completely sober, I'm riding without a doubt, everywhere. Even on a borrowed bike, on my mum's bike, I'll be out here riding because the atmosphere is so intense, it's incredible.
That's the thing that links us all together. It makes days like this so great. Chop, it's been great having you up
always
here.
Always a pleasure with you boys.
You're the man. We'll see you at the start of the season next year.
Dude, awesome stuff.
Sorry about the left-handed handshake.
Thanks, Chop. Thanks, man.
It's smart.
So in the booth here, we say goodbye to Grant Chopper Fielder as we anxiously await the arrival of our champ, Nicolai Roy Gaskin. Oh boy, there he is, oh boy. How are we gonna fit you and this gigantic trophy up here? Nicolai.
You got your Stanley Cup with you.
Sneak behind me, I got cables. Here, I'll hold this for you. I'll hold it for, whoa, whoa.
Don't
This
let
is
that
like
thing fall off, take someone
Excalibur.
out.
I feel like an imposter right now pretending to be King Arthur. But you are the real deal, my man. Nicolai Roy Gaskin, the King Arthur of slopestyle, dude. Congratulations, man.
Thank you so much.
I mean, everybody's asked you all there is to ask. Was this the best season of your life, dude?
After today, it's undoubtedly the best season of my life. I mean, yeah, I can't believe today. I mean, we were so lucky with the conditions we got. As you guys saw, everyone was putting down such heater runs, and yeah, Brett making it happen under so much pressure, and then yeah, just such a rad event. This is another one of those slopestyle events that's like an instant classic, you know, just so entertaining to watch and even more entertaining to be a part of, honestly.
One thing that you do is you somehow stay casual throughout the whole week. I don't see you stressed. You're up at the top of the course. That's the time for focus. How do you get your head out of the game until it's time to put your head in the game?
I mean, there's obviously so much stress involved, but it's just about getting stoked for your run because you obviously come to the contest on a mission, having a run you want to do, and then when you're up, there were so many nerves there, but you're just so stoked to show what you got and, you know, try to make it happen and see if you can gun for a win. So that's kind of how I keep it chill. I get so stoked for the other boys because I know how it feels to put down a heater run, and yeah, that just makes me enjoy the contest in the end rather than have the pressure get to me crazy. So
I love it, dude. It's working. And so we walked through your run with Chopper. You just passed him as he left the booth. I'd love to do the same thing with you. Would you care to walk through your run with us?
If you guys want.
All right,
Sure.
take a look at the screen right here. Now, of course, this will be your second run.
Yeah.
So
Starting off with a move that I'm pretty confident in, but still a heinous one. And then, yeah, that cannon log is pretty long, so you definitely got to land clean and keep the speed. And then the 4-pack is what I was really nervous for. You know, tricks that I know I got, but just got to make them happen and super scary. So to make those that 4-pack happen in both runs was something that I was really nervous about and stoked on at the end. This is where I had
Clutch moment here.
Change it up. The flip tuck in wasn't as good as I thought, but I like the extension on that. And then, you know, right here I was like, man, I got two features left. I got to hold it together, not get too excited. And yeah, this last improvement, this last bar spin was the one I was real nervous for.
Yes.
So,
Did you think you'd ever have to pull out those other 3 ups from run number 1? Did you have them in the tank, or did you just kind of just free ball it once Reader
I knew.
took you
I
down?
mean, I was super stoked on the first run, obviously, but you know, obviously you look at Brett's run and he just throws down hammers, such little tricks on every feature. So I knew I needed to get rid of those straight backflips and, you know, add something else in. And yeah, it's always hard to add different things in your run when you're already stoked on that first run. But in a situation like this, I had to give my 100% because it was my opportunity.
Yeah, when it's that tight, you wouldn't be able to get away with a slip pedal. So things like that double whip off the final drop, I mean, you got to make sure your cranks are staying still right there.
Absolutely.
That was the clutch moment. So, dude, I don't know how you strategize knowing exactly how much to do in run number 1, but still leave something in the bag for run number 2, but it all came together today.
Yeah, today it came together like a dream today, and yeah, I'm still trying to tell if this is a dream or real life because I didn't think this was possible.
So obviously you're going to party tonight, but what did you get up to the rest of the week?
I mean, I got up to a lot of things. I mean, you guys know yourselves how awesome Whistler is as a place and, you know, the atmosphere around. I think it actually helps a lot, too, because as many nerves as are involved in the event, you know, it's impossible to have a bad time here in Whistler. So I just been enjoying the village, going out most nights, you know, eating some good food and, you know, hanging out with all the contest homies. I mean, we're such good friends, but we only really get to hang out at these events. So, you know, we cherish this time together because, yeah, we're really close and we share the common passion of mountain bikes. So, yeah, impossible to have a good time.
Big night tonight, Nicolai. Enjoy it. Thanks for the show. Thanks for joining us in the booth.
Having me in the booth again, 3 times in a row, eh?
Go have fun.
Every night.
Go have fun, man. We're going to set you loose now to go run around the village and answer all those same questions a million times
Wherever
from all the
that
rabid fans out there. There we are, what up? Well, take a look at the standings right now. Of course, we've talked about the podium, but the way we kicked off this competition really set the pace for the fairy tale moments. I'm talking about the 4th place finisher returning to the Slopestyle World Tour, Emile Johansen. We have the opportunity to pick one of our favorite moments out here, and me and Ty, we agreed that Emilio Hansen right now, I mean, there were people crying after this first run. This gets McCall's call.
Hands down, the best moment of today, the most emotional moment of the day. This guy said he didn't know if he'd be able to ride again, dealing with such insane injuries, able to come back. Nobody knew what to expect. Nobody knew if he'd been training. I don't think he has. I think he's just that naturally talented. He has new sponsors this year, riding for Fast House Bell, wanting to make them proud, prove that he earned his spot on those teams. And you know what? He laid it down. Perfect. 4th place, top 5, Red Bull Joyride, his first contest back.
So great to see. Now we're hoping he's going to be able to continue healing so we can see him in March all the way down in the southern hemisphere to kick off the 2019 season in Rotorua, New Zealand. That does it for us here. The biggest day of the year for Slopestyle, Red Bull Joyride, but it's the second to the last day for the festival here, but there's also more to come on Red Bull TV. If you love Slopestyle, well, you might love World Cup downhill racing as well. Le Bresse, France. It's coming at you August 25th through the 26th. You can watch it live on Red Bull TV. We got cross country, we have downhill. The series heating up in the World Cup world as well. So tune in if you call yourself a mountain biker. Well, Tyler, we've said it all. This is one for the fairy tale books, for the history books. What are your final thoughts?
One of my favorite contests to call all season. Insane show. Couldn't have scripted a better story than that. And I just already can't wait for the 2019 season.
Well, Slopestyle mountain bike fans, it's now time for you to catch your breath. Get to bed early, wake up, and go for a bike ride and let the anticipation build for the 2019 season, but also our Canadian Open downhill tomorrow. Downhill Sunday. We're going to be kicking off that broadcast at 2 o'clock p.m. local time, 11 p.m. if you're in Europe. And if you're hanging out in New Zealand, wake up at 9 to catch all the action from all of us here in the booth and the entire production staff. We thank you for joining us for Red Bull Joyride. We'll see you tomorrow.